Hello and welcome to the Lucky Hit Podcast, episode 89.
Hello. I'm not in the thumbnail this time. Long story.
Nah, yeah, it's alright. I'll add you back in when this thing's over. Hello, welcome.
You shouldn't have said that then.
Welcome to the Lucky Hit Podcast, number 89. 89! We're almost there.
Hey, like the year I was born.
Oh,
yeah, and also the same year.
the year 89.
Also, when
5PM
Prince was born as well.
Yeah.
Yep. I was born exactly 1 week before the Sega Genesis launched in the US.
Yeah. I mean, your birthday's not as pinpoint accurate as Murry Curry's, but
I'm so proud of that. I never shut up about it. I'll just repeat it again. My birthday, 17th of December 1987, was the birth date of Mega Man, his first game released in Japan.
Yeah.
You
are Mega Man.
Discovered that. Because, anyone who knows me knows that Mega Man's kind of my thing.
That rocks, man.
Mine isn't pinpoint accurate, but mine is the same month as Vampire Killer on the MS.
Hey, that's good enough.
Yeah, it's MSX.
Pennsylvania?
I haven't even looked mine up. I'm not
That's
sure.
right. 86, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm old, so, games weren't really invented back then.
We just had sticks.
Yeah.
We just played stickball.
we just programmed sticks.
I just kicked
Threw rocks at each other.
We just played knives and forks. Drop them.
Yeah, we fired guns at each other.
Yeah. Right. So it is the 21st of September 2020, and we should probably introduce ourselves. Yeah, I've lost the train of thought already. I am the Gagaman.
I'm CherryTarier.
I'm Murry Curry.
I'm ShelvedGamer.
I'm Hunk Thunder.
And I remember.
Oh,
I
knew it.
Someone had to do it. I suppose someone had to do it.
And my name is Big L, as always.
This is going to be the full track.
It's going to be the whole thing. We're going to get content ID'd. If we didn't already get content ID'd for that Tenchi Muyo song.
Divide all your money.
Yeah. I mean, it's not super important with these. But, I guess we'll start how I like starting these things with a little update about the channel. As you may have noticed, Murry Curry's back.
Hey.
So,
Thanks for having me back.
Yeah. No, you're not allowed.
A little bit
We've got
of a
back
hiccup
for
last
a
week.
week, but on the podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. Murry Curry and 5PM Pimps have been playing Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered every Friday currently. And also, I literally played almost 7 hours of Spelunky yesterday. I don't blame you guys if you don't want to watch much of it, but I did manage to beat Olmec twice, so I was quite happy with that. One of them was my best speed, like my best time, and one of them was my best score. So I was quite content with that, but I still didn't get to hell. But one thing I've decided to do from next week when I do the Spelunky 2 version of the series is I might occasionally jump back to the first game as well. Just to see,
that's such a good idea.
because I know you were saying it's actually kind of helped you get better at the first one in some ways, because the second one's so much harder.
It is. I'll be talking about that shortly.
Yeah.
But you are correct.
Yeah.
In that case, prepare to die before you go to hell.
Yep. many hot dogs times. Right. So I guess we shall start this thing how we usually start these things, with what we've been playing, and I guess we will go with whoever wants to go first. I guess.
Should I go? Because it's been a while.
Yeah. It's been 3 months. So.
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's great to be back. Thanks a lot for having me. I was meant to be on last week, but children are great.
It's so great. You just had to not show up. That's because they're so great.
It was all manner of chaos going on. I could have been there, but I would have been there in patches, and it would have been very unprofessional. I would have been like, "Oh, got to go again." So it's great to be back. We had a good 3 months off while we've been trying to adjust to the second Lucky Hit child. There will be no more. Well, not from me, anyway. I'm done. hanging the old chap up, so to speak. So yeah, back doing some streams. Obviously, we can't do it as sort of often as on the fly as we were a few months ago, because things can go all manner of crazy. So yeah, we're trying to do a little bit of stable streams like Fridays, for instance, like we were before.
Yeah.
Bring back the date night thing, and at the moment we're doing the Crystal Chronicles, which was going to be a date night, but we thought, why don't we just try and do the whole game? So
Why not?
started after last week's one, started to wonder if that's a bad idea. Because 5CM Prince has a bit of trouble with that game.
Oh, really?
It's got the headphones in at the moment, so I can say whatever I want. So yeah, this week I've been playing 2 games, one of which I just mentioned, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered. I'm really happy with it. I've heard some rumblings that the online's pretty bad, but I wouldn't know because I don't even have PSN, so even if I wanted to play online, I can't. And I always played that game single player anyway, with a few exceptions. I have played the multiplayer, and I thought it was quite cool. I don't like how they've taken away the local multiplayer. I understand they want to focus on the cross-play, which is pretty damn on paper it's a good idea. And it is cool to have cross-play and online, but why not also have the option to play locally like the original had?
I mean, surely it's there in the code. You'd think.
Exactly. Like they would have had to literally strip it out. So I just think that's a bit dumb, really. So that's a shame. But yeah. In terms of single player, it plays it plays smooth, and it's just like the game I remember with only slightly better textures, if I'm being honest. Because I don't know if you remember, but it looked great on the GameCube anyway. It looked really nice. So all they had to do was HD it up and smooth out some of those textures, and it literally just looks really nice. It's one of my all-time favourite Final Fantasy games, and it plays exactly like I remember it. And it's because it's been so long as well, I forgot that it is actually quite difficult at times. It's one of those games where I think the game kind of expects you to stick with one character throughout the whole thing, because the pacing, if you do that, is quite good. You don't ever get too underpowered or anything like that.
Right.
But I've started playing it differently because I want to explore the idea of actually having characters of each race, and you can have 8 characters, so that's enough to have one of each gender of all 4 races. So I've done that, and I wanted to sort of spread my time out, not amongst all 8 because that would take forever, but I just thought I'd do 4 characters, and because of it, I'm having to sort of grind on earlier levels now because that again, the game's paced really well if you've got one character. So. Yeah, no, it's a really fun game. I can't recommend it enough, and it's a pretty decent price as well. It's like, I think it was £25. So
yeah, I think it's about that.
Yeah, that's what.
It's probably
just
cheaper than the GameCube version is now.
Oh
That's
god,
true.
yeah, I imagine, yeah. So yeah, I really recommend that one. Grab it, or watch us play it.
You do both. Right.
Yeah. And the second game I've been playing is Spelunky 2, which came out on PS4. Was it Tuesday last week?
I think so. Yeah.
I think it was Tuesday.
Yeah, it was Tuesday. Yeah.
It was the 15th, wasn't it? Absolutely blown away by it. It's one of those things that it's an improvement on almost any area of the first game, and I adore the first game. It's like one of my top 10 games ever made. Play it. I've been playing it steadily since it came, like literally the week it came out on Xbox 360. It's funny as well because I didn't know anything about it when it came out. I didn't know about the free play version or anything like that.
Yeah, me neither.
So I just saw it. This was back in the day where I used to really hang out on the Xbox 360, and I would just look at the store like every day. I don't really do that anymore. And every time like a new interesting demo would come up, I'd grab it and have a look at it. And
that was what
this
was
game
really
came
good
up.
about the 360, wasn't it? I think almost every game had a demo, didn't it? So
oh god, yeah.
That was one of the really cool things about the 360, from what I remember.
Yeah. So I grabbed it the week it came out, and it was just a demo at first, and basically the demo was the caves, the first level, and then as soon as you get to the jungle, it would basically.
Wow, so that's a pretty meaty demo when you think about it.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, it took me so long to get through the cave that the demo had me going for like about a month. I think it was but I would do an occasional run, and I'd just be obsessed with going back in.
Wow.
So I thought I have to buy this game. So yeah. I say I grabbed it on release, but that was actually the demo. Now I think about it, but yeah, and I've been playing it obsessively since, and I'm kind of almost embarrassed to admit that I only finally got to do like a full-on, not even just a hell run, but an actual full completion without shortcuts. I think it was last year.
Yeah, I still remember you telling me about it. It was sometime last year. Yeah.
I just went through and but it's one of those games. I have I guess you can call them perennial games. They're games that I always come back to every year. Like one of them's Morrowind. I never shut up about Morrowind. Like, there's always a bit of time every year that I just sink into Morrowind, like for about a month's worth. There's that. There's a couple of other things I can think of, like Super Metroid's one I always come back to, which is just like a comforting game. I almost know it like the back of my hand, and I can just it's one of you know what I mean. It's one of those that I could go on for ages, but there's at least a dozen games where if you start it, I will just be happy to sit there and finish it like almost on autopilot because it's just comfortable, And Spelunky's one of those games, even though I'm not, I can't exactly run through it on command, but that's one of those games I'll just load it up, when I'm going through something to play on the wind down from something else, and I go, "Oh, go on then." And then that go on then will turn into about a month's worth of obsessive running. And that's kind of what's happened with this. I'm still playing it all the time at the moment, and I just was it last night while during your Smoky One stream. I finally finished it's the sort of normal casual route using the shortcuts. Finally did it, and I have to say, wow. And I've seen what you have to do to get to this game's version of hell, and I don't actually know if I'm going to be able to do it.
Oh,
it is ridiculous. It is
even
just insane.
More complicated, I presume.
Yeah.
Would you say there's more steps? Because there's quite a few steps to the original, but
it's so hard because I don't know how much I should say.
No. I suppose not, yeah.
I mean, I'll say there are not only are there more steps, but the game tricks you into thinking that it's exactly the same procedure, and then it suddenly throws you for one. You're like, oh, okay, no, this is not the chain anymore. And that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. I cannot wait until you play it next week, and we can just.
This is my most anticipated game since Sonic Mania. It really is.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I felt really bad because this has happened to you twice now, hasn't it?
Yeah. Last time it happened, it was Sonic Mania. We're going to
Exactly.
delay the PC version for reasons. At least this time they had a reason. It was because they're trying to fix up the online co-op. Whereas in the case of Sonic Mania, it was just, we just need to put some spyware in it or something.
Yeah. I remember.
Or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
At least they eventually took the spyware out, but like
But the fact that they delayed the game
after the backlash,
after the backlash, after they got caught.
Gone. Sonic Forces still has it, of course.
Oh dear!
It forces you to have it.
Can't force me to buy it though.
Yeah, no, exactly.
So I just feel really bad because this is twice now, and I just thought, Jesus Christ, man! Like I really want to, because I think you're the only other person I know that plays it to like almost a religious degree that I do. So I just really want to as soon as you've had a good few maybe a full week or more of it, I just want to be able to just chat away all night about all the different stuff.
Oh, definitely. I mean, the fact that this one's going to have online co-op as well, I don't know if you're getting the Steam version as well or not.
I am,
but, that'd be
I'll
cool
wait till it obviously comes down because I did pay.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. I wouldn't expect you to buy full whack twice.
I do want to grab it as well, and the first one as well on Steam because I still don't have it on that. I only have it on currently Xbox One. It was playing a bit dodgy, but they seem to have updated it now, and it works really plays really well now, which is what I would have expected from a 360 2D game playing on the Xbox One. It would just have a few sort of weird frame rate drops every now and then, and it seems
when I played it at Angels one time.
Yeah, it was really annoying, wasn't it? Because in a game that precise, it can kill you, and it has done a few times. My only other problem at the moment is my Xbox One controller. The D-pad's gone after years of use. It's not gone, but the up button, for instance, won't work. So I keep dying when I'm trying to.
Well, that's pretty gone.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well say it's gone. Yeah. And so yeah, that's what I've been playing. And like I say, I can't wait till maybe next week's podcast. Or actually, it might be the next one after, to be honest, where you've had a really good chance to sink your teeth into it, and I just want to natter away. In fact, maybe not on the podcast, to be honest, because I won't shut up. I'm so into the moment.
Maybe you could get on Discord while I'm playing it on one of the to hell with it, and we could just chat while we're playing it. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. I'll just try not to get too excited and go like, "Oh, next up is this."
Yeah.
But there is a bit I can't wait till you see it. You're going to go, "Oh, come on!" Like I did.
In a way, you kind of have to do this because I think when Gagaman played Sonic Mania, it was at yours, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's the thing. He basically had to do it on. We did it as not a stream, was it? It was a
let's play.
Yeah. Because it was just impossible to avoid the spoilers otherwise. They were everywhere.
Yeah, and
because Spelunky 2 is relatively niche.
Originally, I wasn't. Yeah, exactly. Originally, I wasn't going to play Sonic Mania for the first time on a Let's Play. I was going to do a Let's Play where I've already played it a couple times and I know what I'm doing. But no, I think it was in the end, it was a good idea.
Oh, I'm glad we did because your reactions were priceless.
I'm really glad we actually had a camera on as well.
Yeah.
That's why I think you should do it again for Spelunky 2.
Yeah,
that's not a bad idea.
When I play Spelunky 2 next week, the first time I play it is going to be on stream. I can say that for sure.
Oh, definitely, because it was funny. It was funny with me. There's one bit of the stream. I know you didn't want to watch the stream because obviously you didn't want the spoilers. You wanted to experience it yourself. Mm-hmm. But there was one bit I really want to just cap it and show you. But I was trying to flex. And about my spike game, like you're jumping in and out of spikes and all that. And literally the second after I said, "No, I've got the skills," you just hear. My face just drops.
I'm really looking forward to watching that stream when I can.
There were some funny moments on it where I kind of got lost. Oh, that's the one thing. One other thing I was going to say. Spelunky 1 doesn't anger me. I don't know why. I just expect it. It's one of those games. It's a roguelike. You don't really get too mad. I know you get a bit wound up, but not explosive.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Sometimes the deaths are so spectacular that all I can do is laugh at how spectacular they were.
Unfortunately, I can't say the same for me and 2.
Ooh.
Some of the deaths are so BS, I actually go mental. And there was one particular challenge in building a shortcut that almost brought me to punching a hole in the wall. It was just ridiculous.
Yeah,
you thought the shortcuts in the first game were
maybe I'll need some more. Maybe I'll need some more of that Kraken when I play this then.
Yeah,
because that was actually keeping my temper down last night, I think, because usually within 2 hours I am super salty playing Spelunky 1, but I managed to play for a whole 7 hours yesterday without getting that mad at all, which is quite unusual.
Help me out.
Part, anyway.
Yeah, drink helped me out.
Yeah.
Yeah, drink helped me out as well. We'll go into that in a minute.
Yeah, I guess we could go into that now. So last week I ranted about Columns 2. I said it was the worst, one of the worst games Sega has ever produced. They ruined Columns.
Oh my god! I'm never going to play it ever again.
Yeah, never going to play it again. I'm going to uninstall this thing. It's the angriest a puzzle game has ever made me.
Oh god, I missed this round.
For the record, I still hold this opinion.
Yeah, right. So
the game sucks.
Right, so this week I have pretty much exclusively, outside of Spelunky yesterday, I've pretty much exclusively been still playing Columns 2. At first it was like, well, I hate myself. I'm just going to try and beat this poxy level, because really the thing that was making me angry was this one particular level. Because the good thing about it is there's a stage select, so you can just pick any level you want. So I started doing that instead. I was like, oh, I'll go from whatever levels I haven't got the the unlocks for. And I was actually getting through quite a few of the other levels a bit easier. I was still having to use save states, but I was actually getting through some of the other levels. And I thought, I'll try going back to level 17 again. And again, I was stuck there for several hours. And then CherryT was like, oh, can I give this a go? And then she got stuck on it for several hours too. And now
So
you
what's the,
understand, don't you?
What's the challenge? Is it like
Basically, there's
Swing
70
or-
levels. There's 70 levels. There's 70 levels that are basically the flash columns mode from the Mega Drive version of the original game, where there's just like,
So they have, like, a
flashing
jump
pieces that you
file.
have to get. Yeah.
Oh,
But-
yeah.
But level 17, it starts at almost the top of the board. So the second you place a piece down, you've almost filled the board.
Oh,
And you turn the
jeez.
skulls off.
Yes, you can.
Skulls?
Yeah. Oh, that's another thing with columns too. Occasionally, skull pieces will appear, and it will change one of the jewels into a skull. And if you clear where that one is, the board will rise like a tile.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
luckily there's also a mode to turn that off, which I've pretty much been using exclusively because it's odd using that. Also, the other thing I've found that's made this game more palatable is just putting it on Columns 1 graphics mode, which is basically just the jewels and not all the other styles, which I found a little bit too weird looking to really
Because
pass.
it was like shells
visuals.
Okay.
and
It
fossils
was like
and that,
shells
wasn't it?
and fossils and all these different styles. Plus the
Oh.
music in those other levels is
Great.
absolute torture. It's just like wow.
Columns 3, 8.
Absolutely not. Yeah, for some reason, I still agree with myself from last week. Is that the term I want? Yeah, I'll still say that I feel like the music in Columns 2 is absolute garbage for the most part. Like,
Oh, that's a shame.
because the first game's music is
1 and
so
2.
good. Like,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Sorry, 1 and 3.
One
Yeah,
free,
1
yeah.
and 3, yeah.
Oh, some
But
of
for
the best
reason,
soundtracks ever.
it's just, especially since every time you get near the top of the screen, it's just got the most repetitive 1 second loop of this, and that can go on for like 5 minutes at a time if you're still stuck at the top for ages. But yeah, basically while I was streaming Spelunky yesterday, all those hours, you were playing it for quite a few hours yourself, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you went off into another room, didn't you? Or something like that, and just started playing Columns.
Yeah. CherryT was playing it downstairs while I was playing Spelunky
right.
up here, so I couldn't
Yeah.
hear it from here, so I didn't hear any screaming of torment. But you understand now, don't you? You
I-
understand the
Both
pain.
I know your pain now.
You both just have Stockholm syndrome. That's all it is.
Yep.
Sounds
This is definitely some.
Marshall.
Yeah. It definitely gives you a lot of ROMs, I'll say that. But yeah, you were playing it for, I want to say, most of the time, or a good chunk of the time that I was playing Spelunky, wasn't it?
Well, it was
Probably
like-
3 or 4 hours.
It was about a couple hours
Well, at least a couple
after
hours.
started.
And if I just bring up this little window capture, because this is the thing I love about the Switch, is the fact that you can just take little videos. I might have to quickly mute this because it's going to be loud. Yeah, it's going to be loud. You actually beat level 17 for me.
Yes.
Yeah, so we've got this little video
Way
of
to
it so
go.
you can see. But yeah, so I never have to touch it.
Yep,
I
you never have to
play
touch
it again.
Yep. No,
Because you were just playing it off my Switch, weren't you? So
Yeah.
obviously we didn't buy the game twice. There's no point doing that. But yeah,
Way to go.
oh,
I mean,
Oh, I
sounds
can see. I
irritating.
can see where you're gonna go for now.
oh, you can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all that Columns 2 is, though. It's just hoping
Done.
you get a half decent
Yep.
grouping.
Yeah, I mean the thing with these as well is every time you game over, the pieces sort of randomise.
Yep.
Kind of. So it's almost like a roguelite, and kind of like Spelunky, where you're just waiting for a good seed. Like sometimes
Yeah.
it's just getting a lucky seed with like the pieces lined up in a way that you can combo them all together. I also had this really strange thing happen. I think it was yesterday or the day before with this game. I had this really bizarre game-breaking glitch happen. So there's a sort of like a bonus game that plays in between levels where the whole board is upside down and you just place like one piece down to like do a big chain. It's kind of like the Fever mode in Puyo where they just
You're
give you a
right.
big screen full of pieces.
Here,
So-
you mind? Sorry.
And yeah, so I was just playing this bit. I usually fail these pretty spectacularly, but I managed to clear most of them except for one line. And I'm just going to put up the little video. Hang on, I'll just see if I can bring it up. Right, so this is a bit hard to explain what happens. But basically, I had no idea what was happening at the time, and obviously I captured it. Because I had to know what happened. The next level immediately ended. Like, it just instantly game over. And I was like, what the hell just happened? Yeah.
I couldn't make sense of the clip.
Yeah, exactly. It's so baffling. Like, the first time you watch it, like, what's happening? Like, so basically, yeah, there was that bonus stage that was, like, upside down. And basically, there was one orange piece left. The timer reached 0 as I was dropping that piece. And then it basically gets stuck. It got stuck to the top of the screen and carried over to the next level.
So it counted
Oh,
as
is it
a
playing
thing.
the audio? Oops. Sorry.
No.
I think it was playing the audio on the stream. Whoops. That was
Oh,
probably really
sorry.
loud. Yeah, I might even have to repeat that. I don't know. That was probably incredibly loud, like the music.
Oh,
Whoops.
okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to repeat this. So basically, the timer reached 0 as I was dropping the piece on the bonus stage, and the orange piece got stuck to the top of the screen and carried over to the next level. And as the next level loaded, basically the orange piece was where the pieces spawn from. So if you watch it very carefully, you can see for an absolute split second that the pieces spawn on top of that orange piece, and then it just classes it as the board being
Game over.
full. Yeah, so it just instantly game overed.
Oh.
So that was strange. That was a
Yeah.
strange thing that happened. I'm glad I managed to capture that for posterity, because that was...
Mind you, that reminds me of a weird glitch I had in Fantasy Star 2
yeah.
about a year ago
Oh,
on
right,
the
was-
Sega Collection.
Oh, the Mega Drive one
Yeah,
on the Switch. Yeah.
basically I was at the Nay first fight.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it was a case of all of my characters died apart from Anna. Like,
Oh yeah.
and because in that particular scene after that battle, like it's meant to be in the perspective of Rolf. You know, like
Yeah.
Rolf like cries like in the distance and that. But
Yeah.
because I was down to Anna, it not only did it think that Anna was Rolf, because it still came up with his rather
Oh.
than her.
Oh,
Oh,
And then, like the control panel like starts exploding. The
Yeah.
explosions were like garbled.
Oh, wow.
I-
You'd think they would have thought of something like that, wouldn't you?
I've got a video of that on like my casual Twitter, but yeah.
I'm not sure if that's a glitch that's just specific to that emulation of the game, or if that's actually possible on the Mega Drive version. But
It's
I
hard
could
to say,
try
yeah.
repeating
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah, I was going to say, isn't it? It's difficult to repeat it. 'Cause
yeah.
that's
I've
fine.
been, I've
do
been
it.
trying to repeat this
Yeah.
columns glitch as well. Every time those bonus games come up, I was like, oh, I've got to try and repeat that glitch. I really
Yeah.
wish I kept a save state of it so I could go back to it and like. Which you can't do save states. But yeah, I was playing it not long ago actually, just before dinner and just before this podcast, and I was basically blitzing through loads of levels, and I kind of feel like this maybe has clicked now at last. It's only taken almost 20 hours of playing it, but I think it's finally bloody clicked, and I don't even know what I'm doing different, but I just seem to be doing better now. Maybe the only thing that I'm doing better is I'm not playing level 17.
You just got good.
Yeah,
imagine if you actually had to put credits into a game for this.
Exactly, yeah, that's what I was saying last week. Like, who would play this in an arcade? Because especially the fact that it gets really fast sometimes, and it just like gets uncontrollable. Sometimes it gets so fast you can't actually push the directions, and you can't put things where
I
you
hate
want to
that.
put them. Yeah, that's one of my pet
Tetris
hates in
Effect still does that. You'd think they would, make it a bit smoother, wouldn't you? But it
Yeah.
still does it in Tetris Effect.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, you want to move it to the left? Nah.
Nah,
Just
sticky
swung.
stick.
Stick. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. You said you looked up.
I looked up a long play of it, and even the long play was having trouble with that level.
There must be just something about that level. I don't know what it is, because it's not the height of the level, because there are other levels that are that high that were fine.
Yeah, this
So I really don't know what they did different on that one.
and know how long players are? Usually, like people that really know what they're doing with a game. But this particular player tried it at least 3 times before moving on.
3? Just
Yeah.
3?
Yeah. So you know, even a blooming long player.
Try 300.
Or even a well, what I'm saying is, even a long player was having trouble with it.
Yeah, exactly. Someone
And
that's like an expert at it. Yeah.
And couldn't.
There must be just some weird issue with the layout or something with that level, because it's just the real trouble one, and then the rest of them I haven't really had as much trouble with them. I still occasionally just plop save states down just in case I end up accidentally filling the screen up.
Whereas,
but I feel like I'm actually starting to line them up almost naturally now, which I didn't used to be able to do. I guess maybe I'm just getting good at columns or better at columns. I guess I've been playing it enough. I guess I should be by now.
Yeah, I should hope so at this point.
Whereas my little instance of it is basically the gaming equivalent of having a bowl of nails for breakfast without any milk.
You literally you didn't use save states either, did you?
No.
You just kept
I kept going and
muscling
going
through until it happened.
Right, so
I tried that for about 4 hours.
yeah, I can go into Salty
In 2
Splatoon
seconds.
now. I'm that
You
tough.
certainly can.
Yeah. This game does things to you, I guess. Last week I was saying, oh, it's complete garbage. There's no satisfaction when you beat levels, blah blah blah. I feel like I could sort of take that back now.
Yeah.
To some extent, I do feel like it's actually starting to, feel good to play. And also, you unlock those cool little Sega Girl illustrations as you go in, so that's a nice little incentive.
Worth it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally worth it for some little JPEGs that you can find on the internet easily. Probably. But yeah, that's other than that and Spelunky. That's what I've been playing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you want to say what else you've been playing while we're talking about this.
Yeah, so like I said, I set myself up to try and help you out with her columns too.
And succeeded.
Yep. Then other than that, it's just been the same old Pokemon and Dr. Mario World.
Yeah, which Pokemons are you on at the moment? Was it Diamond?
I switched to Diamond and Sword and Shield this week.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you've been sort of juggling them still,
Yeah, I'm still juggling between 3 or 4 of them a week.
Yeah. I suppose you don't get confused which mechanics are in which games sometimes, especially the ones that are on the same system.
Yeah, that must be a bit of an issue.
Yeah, well, I guess. But
Not really.
no.
Though I've only just learned from playing Diamond that I figured out what the whole curry thing in Sword and Shield comes from now.
Okay.
Because in Diamond, there's a similar mini game where you make a thing called a poffin. It's like a bread-like thing that you give to your Pokemon.
Oh, okay.
Admittedly,
Give a puffin to your coffin.
the first time I've ever heard of a poffin was from Pokemon Go when the buddy play thing got introduced.
Is it a real food?
No, it looks like a bit of bread.
You had me at bread.
And,
Maybe at the Pokemon Center.
Yeah.
Maybe they do some kind of imitation of it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
And they're made out of berries and that. It's the same way somehow the curries in Sword and Shield are made including berries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They seem to think, because that game's set in a not England, isn't it? They seem to think that we just put curry on anything. Literally anything. Like beans on toast and curry.
Yep.
But yeah.
Burgers and curry.
Burgers and curry.
Yeah.
I mean, some of these I would try, honestly.
A cup of noodles in a curry. Oh no! A couple of the worst ones are the bone one.
Because it's got bones sticking out of it.
Yeah. And
I want to pick those out.
And the whipped cream one.
Oh, yeah. No,
why would you put?
That's like an eating challenge that someone would do, isn't it?
Yeah, make a really nice hot curry, spray blooming anchor on it. Yeah.
Job's a good one.
It's not curry we've got on anything anyway. It's Marmite these days.
Yeah.
I was going to say it's kind of like a Japanese thing, isn't it? The curry system in a game, because loads of them do it. I remember, was it Disgaea 5 that had a system like that, or was it? Yeah, I think it was where you you go to a special guy. Yeah, and they throw loads of stuff in a curry pot. There's loads of Japanese games.
And Puyo makes a thing of it as well.
Oh yeah. Well, that was like one of the
spice of the curry is the
time to get spicy.
Yeah.
I've tried making. I mean, it hasn't happened often, but I have tried making like food out of video games like once or twice before. Like I remember one time I tried making the fairy chocolate from Ni no Kuni.
Wow.
It was white chocolate, a bit of food colouring, like blue one, and like biscuits and raisins and that to make it look like the little prickly bits. And then I moulded it together.
I want to grab that Elder Scrolls cookbook. That looks amazing.
Oh, there's a whole cookbook on Elder Scrolls.
Wow. It's like one of those sort of unofficial ones that gets the go-ahead by the company. One of those. And you can actually grab it on like Amazon and stuff. It looks really good.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. You should do a full one. That'd be hilarious. First of all, go
and I suppose technically, I don't know. I've done it just out of principle, but I've actually thought about like the curries in like Pokemon Sword and Shield and sort of transferred them to real life anyway. Like
whipped cream.
No, like potatoes and leeks and stuff.
Yeah. It's educational.
I actually wouldn't mind trying like a banana one day.
You can.
Yeah, that's actually a thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
you can do that if you want.
And,
you can leave me out of it.
Or cheese or something.
Cheese curry.
I've had cheesy curry before. It was alright.
Yeah, it was like cheese pizza, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was almost like they just kind of like mushed a pizza inside the curry or something.
The British really do put curry with everything.
Just not whipped cream.
Yeah.
Yet.
You know someone has though.
Ever since that game came out, I'm sure someone's tried.
If somebody can come up with something like absolutely mental, like Brussels sprout flavoured tea or whatever it was, then yeah.
Lost me at Brussels sprout.
Yeah, same here.
If anyone can come up with Brussels sprouts.
Right, who wants to go next?
I guess me and Hunk Thunder have been playing more or less the same thing, so I guess.
Yes.
Yep.
So I guess we can both do that.
Yeah. Basically, the other day, I had a weird idea of having one of us stream and having another channel stream at the same time and both being on the same screen and everything.
So getting a bit Michael Oldfield on us there.
Yeah. So myself and ShelvedGamer were playing Super Mario 3D All Stars. ShelvedGamer was on 64, I was on Sunshine, and good times had by all.
Yeah.
I really would like to grab a copy of that, but they're gone now, aren't they?
I went in Asda today and they've got the game on the shelf, but it's just that it's all out of stock. Even though I have it on.
We just have a box. You can have a code in a box if you like.
I mean, you could nick the box and then
pretend,
get a digital version and just pretend. I mean, how have you found Sunshine so far?
Yeah, just as good as I remember. I mean, it's hard.
I always struggled with that one. Yeah,
I'd say out of the 3 games that are on All Stars, Sunshine is like the least played because I didn't actually have a GameCube back in the day. The actual first time I played it was when I got my Wii, and basically
same for me, but with Mario 64.
Yeah. The game shop where Murry Curry used to work, I'm not sure if he was there at the time, they were selling off GameCube games for like 2 for £10.
Oh, yeah.
So I got a copy of Sunshine and Double Dash,
Nice.
for £10, and a few other games as well.
That's bargain.
That's never going to happen again.
Buy games for a decent price.
Even one of them is Sunshine.
You really don't like Sunshine, do you?
We played it a little while back, didn't we? Like,
it
was it a year or two ago?
Oh, this was just before we moved to this house. Like, while we were
I remember getting very angry at it.
I like it. I just suck at it.
Yeah, that's probably the main issue I have with it. I just suck with it. It's not a bad game per se. It's just some of the missions are just they feel like pure luck.
Pachinko and Billy Pad.
And that one with the big watermelon as well. You got to bounce it down the hill, and it just boings into the sky and disappears. And it's like, oh, okay, you just go down in this corner, but fine.
And Billy Hatcher suddenly.
That was a great moment from the game. I personally love the pachinko mission. I think that was the hardest one.
Love is a word. Basically, drop him into a level and hope he doesn't fall off it. 99% of the time, he will.
Yeah, you're supposed to land in a very particular spot, and you don't really have much influence about where you land.
Just like real pachinko.
Yeah, basically.
Also, I think
it's realistic.
Also, I think you are timed.
Only with real pachinko, you get about 700 tries.
Yeah. But other than that, though, I always used to love that game. I remember being so confused for a long time as to why a lot of people said it was bad.
I have thoughts. Because I played through Mario 64 and I've now 100%ed Mario 64 and I've thoughts on that as well. So I'll talk about 64 first. I haven't played 64 in a long time, but I was one of those. I feel like I didn't understand the hype quite completely, and I feel the same about Ocarina of Time to an extent. I'm not saying they're bad. I don't understand why it's like the greatest thing ever kind of thing. I couldn't imagine why anyone would think it was their favorite Mario game, for example. But I have recently replayed it, and it's in 60 hertz this time, which is nice.
Yeah, I noticed that. It looked really smooth.
It's very smooth.
It looked really seeing it look playing like well.
Yeah, playing at proper speed. It's got.
Can't imagine it was too pleasant at 50 hertz.
It was not. He sort of had a weird little float when he did that long jump that was kind of uncanny. But so I think playing 64 again now, it has really good stage design, I think.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I think so. It has some of the best stage design from a 3D Mario game of its kind. Like I'm not counting like 3D World and stuff in that. I think they have massively superior level design myself, but and I find that the most of the stars are quite fun to obtain, not counting for the collecting 100 coin stuff.
Yeah, I hated that.
Yeah. The only thing I will say is that my issue with that Mario 64, and I maintained this then, and I still kind of feel that way now, is one, the camera sucks, and I'll give them a mild pass on that because it was the first game that even had a camera that was not just awful. It was just not terrible, and Mario controls really well at normal speed, but if you need to do anything remotely precise, it's absolutely terrible. Mario
there's a reason why there's so many like videos of speedrunners losing their minds over that game.
If you need to sort of edge slightly to jump or turn, like you're on a small platform, you need to turn to face the other way. You're walking off the edge because he can't turn on a dime. He walks round.
Yeah, he does. He has to do a big long wind up.
He has a white circle.
Remember the guy who kept going teleport on one Let's Vault on Let's Play? Oh, the Ret's Pro one.
Oh, yeah.
Where it was like a British guy, and they were just like talking over it and like taking the mick out of his accent and everything.
Oh yeah, I remember that channel. Yeah, the Super Bomberman one.
That's my favourite one.
Oh, but yeah, it was like, let's have a garage ride. And then put in like a bit of Mary Poppins at the end of the video, you know, just to further assert that the Let's Player in question was like British.
Let's just emphasise this. This
Yeah.
person is
It's
British.
Nationality, no question.
But I will say, all in all, I walked away with a very positive experience of 64. I have gripes, but I also have been able to appreciate certain things about the game that
Yeah. I
have
think that's how
aged
you
well.
have to feel with that game. Is, you know, it was one of the first. It wasn't the first 3D platform, but it was it was the first one that actually pulled it off.
Yeah.
Worked
I'd
well.
say it's
Any
the first one.
capacity.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
the
it did do a lot of things in particular that no other 3D platform at the time did. Like, it did pioneer an I don't want to say open world, but it really did encourage exploration a lot more than most platformers like it did at the time.
Yeah, it had that
Plus-
playground.
plus there was
sort
stuff
of
like,
thing, didn't it?
Yeah, plus there was stuff like where you could slightly tilt the analog stick to walk rather than running at full speed, which
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Mario 64 was the first game to do that. First
Hmm.
platformer
for
anyway.
better or worse.
Yeah.
For better or worse, sure.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's the first platformer with a non-fixed camera that's 3D that was handled competently. Because I would say
That too.
I would say Crash plays better.
But that's also
but-
essentially a corridor platformer when you think
Yeah,
about it.
exactly.
It's,
It
it's
doesn't
almost
have-
like a 2D platformer from the back, isn't it? When you
Yeah,
think about it.
exactly.
It is.
So,
Plus it was designed to with the D-pad on the PlayStation controller in mind, because it didn't always have an analog stick.
no, that's for the third.
cool.
And
one, I
even
don't think.
even with the later games, when they did have support for the analog sticks, it wasn't really all that necessary, honestly.
Mm.
When I played those games, I always used the analog stick, but nowadays when I go back to them, even if I'm playing the Insane Trilogy remake, I usually just use the D-pad. I just
Mhm.
find that easier now.
Yeah,
Yeah. Makes sense.
I feel
We-
the same. Yeah.
I'm a little bit into Sunshine though now.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying Sunshine. I was always like, not a massive fan. It's not like Majora's Mask, where I think Majora's Mask is horribly underrated. I do think that Sunshine has problems. I just don't think that it's just because Mario has FLUDD. I don't think that's a problem. I don't
That
think there's
really
anything
isn't
wrong.
a problem. No,
No.
actually, I
If
really
any-
enjoy the moveset with FLUDD.
Yeah,
That is
exactly.
actually- It's
Yeah.
really satisfying
And
to just jump around and
Yeah.
do all that stuff.
And if anything, I always found platforming to be a lot easier with FLUDD, because
yeah.
with the hover nozzle, you could use that to correct your jumps if you overshoot or if you undershoot.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's what
Yeah.
I always did.
But
Of course,
yeah,
they had the bonus stages where you can't use the FLUDD at all. But
that's
yeah.
where the cracks tend to show in Sunshine.
Yes.
yeah, that's where the challenge comes in. Yes,
But like I say, I
or
don't
the
think
cracks, as you say.
I don't think the FLUDD's the problem. For me, it's you could say FLUDD's the problem indirectly because they've made FLUDD. They've made the platforming to facilitate FLUDD,
Yeah.
and the level design isn't quite as sharp as 64. I don't think. I think that doing things that shouldn't be difficult are more difficult than they need to be, and I think that some of the like stars and that aren't particularly interesting either. But I don't think it's bad by any stretch. I think it's a good game.
Yeah. It's still
I just-
better than a lot of 3D platformers. from
I
that
don't think
era.
it's the hidden. I don't think it's the hidden best Mario game.
I've
know?
seen a really interesting description for this game. Some people describe it as what it would be like if Sonic Team made a Mario game,
Yeah.
which is a really
Yeah.
interesting way of putting things.
Yeah,
I don't know about that, but yeah, I see
Yeah.
what you mean.
I see where they're coming from.
Yeah,
Not
from
even
s-
just the tropical element, but it's just
Hmm.
like, yeah. I could say, like Delfino Plaza kind of feels like Station Square or something in a way.
I guess. Well, I always loved tropical settings. I still love them, so that kind of carried me through the whole game.
Yeah, that's
If
the other thing about it.
Which reminds me of
setting, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, which reminds me, Mario Sunshine was actually the very first Mario game that I beat from start to finish. In
Oh,
fact,
nice.
Okay.
I didn't 100% the game. In fact, I wouldn't recommend it. But yeah, I did beat the game.
those blue coins can go to hell.
Yes, you
but-
do kind of go to hell, don't you?
but
Unlike me.
I'd love to.
I'd love to go to hell. I've been trying to go to hell for 20 weeks.
Let's all go to hell. We'll have a hell of a time.
Hey.
But yeah, so I haven't touched Galaxy yet, so I don't know if Hunk Thunder's played Galaxy yet. Yeah,
No, not yet. I am
Oh,
saving
you'll-
myself for it.
You'll both really love Galaxy if you like
I
the
mean,
first
I
two.
have played Galaxy. I just mean I haven't touched it on the collection. That is, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
100% in it, mate.
That's kind of the main draw for me of this collection is to have a HD version of Mario Galaxy because I love that game. Absolutely adore that game. I think that's still maybe my favourite Mario game, and all Odyssey's up there too.
Yeah, I do have Galaxy, but I didn't make nearly as much progress in that game originally as I did the other two games. I guess at the time I was just getting less interested in Mario platformers. Even though I did have a Wii and I had Galaxy, and I thought it was great, I just wasn't interested enough to go through the whole thing.
So
That and I was about to go to college at the time, so I guess I was a little busy with that. So I had to spend time with some other games that caught my attention.
So, Hunk Thunder, did you play Galaxy on the collection yet?
I haven't yet. No, I'm saving myself for it because, to me, Galaxy is the best looking Mario game of all time.
It's so stunning. Like, I feel like that game, the only thing that held it back on the Wii was its resolution. If it was in HD from the get-go, that game is practically timeless looking in some ways, I'd say. I think that was the point where Mario games started looking really goddamn good. The fact that it's 60 FPS as well really helps.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So have you been playing anything else, Hunk Thunder?
Indeed, I have. Well, every once in a while, there's like games that are really simple but become really popular. Say, for example, Angry Birds or Flappy Bird. At the moment, I'm playing with some friends on Among Us.
Yes.
Which is like a
lot about this. I've seen some clips as well, and it looks hilarious.
It is
I
practically.
still don't know the first thing about this game.
Right. It's practically a murder mystery game. So you're on a spaceship. You can have up to 10 players at a time. And the best thing about it is that you could either play it on your PC, you could play it on a smartphone. It's free to play on a smartphone. You can pay to take away the ads. But on Steam, it's only £4 or $4.
Wow.
So it's really, really cheap. But
Okay, that's cool, actually.
it's really difficult to stream it if you're playing with other players because it practically says which randomly generated code for the room that you're in. So you could just jump in the game and say, okay, that guy's the imposter you're trying to catch.
Basically, one of you plays as... How does it work again? I think one of you is like an imposter.
Like a murderer.
It's the
It's one of
murderer.
these type of games.
Yeah, so basically, it will tell you you're the imposter. Go do what you got to do.
I've played a few of these before. They are actually really fun.
Yeah.
With some mates, they can be really fun.
Yeah. You got to try and act like NPCs and stuff. Is that the sort of thing?
Pretty much. There are tasks, as it were, in the game where you can sort of walk up to a machine and fix some wires or clear out the air ducts out of the spaceship that you're on. But it's just really on the edge of your seat stuff because obviously being a murder mystery, no one knows who's the murderer or anything, but some people do get caught out. And the best thing about it is when you go on the chat that's in the game, you could even be the murderer yourself and say, okay, it was that guy, not me at all. And 9 times out of 10, is usually chucked out, and you're still like running around murdering people. So
Yeah, so basically the team can accidentally basically kick out the wrong person, and they'll just face, and then the murder is still afoot.
Yeah, this isn't it essentially. Yeah,
it is. But yeah, it's tons of fun and it's really cheap. So
that is a selling point for me, is the fact that it's so goddamn cheap. I was gonna just try the free phone version. I'll probably still give that a go first, but like.
I might.
From what I've seen, it seems like it's worth every penny. Like, there's a reason it's become a bit of an internet phenomenon already.
I might try it too if there's room on my phone right now.
Yeah, it's definitely worth trying your phone first, just to see if you like it or not, and then it's not a lot if you do like it and want to play on.
Cool.
Yeah. You know, though, whenever someone brings up this game to me, I keep thinking they're talking about either The Last of Us or The Wolf Among Us.
Yeah, when I first saw the name coming up a load, I thought the same thing actually.
I keep getting it confused with that Fall Guys because they're both popular at the same time, aren't they?
That too. They both got like little.
I kept thinking of Fall Guys too because the characters look so similar.
Yeah, there's just like little bean characters, isn't there?
Oh, so that's what that game is.
Yeah, there's Fall Guys is the one with the little bean guys that push each other around like Wipeout.
It's the Takeshi's Castle.
Yeah, Takeshi's Castle.
Simulator.
Yeah, or MXC if you're an American.
Yeah, we did have that over here for a little bit. Just
you did MXC.
Yeah. Was it most extreme?
I think that was actually Takeshi's Challenge.
Yeah,
or a localized version of it.
Yeah, it was like localized in different regions of the world and different commentators given.
Tell you what, two games I still get confused with, though. The Outer Worlds and Outer Wilds, because they both came out at the same time. They were both on everyone's Game of the Year list last year, and I was like, which one's which? I can't tell. I know one of them's an Obsidian game, and the other one's something else.
I still want to try that. Some people are calling it the unofficial New Vegas too.
It's essentially what it is.
New Vegas is one of my favorite games ever.
Are you talking about the Outer Wilds? The Outer Worlds.
See how easy it is?
Yeah, exactly. One of them's got the start.
How did these games latch onto people so easily?
It's just one of the mysteries of the internet. Just like it gets popular just for being simple or really cheap, and everyone's playing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but how are people not searching the App Store for like The Wolf Among Us or something? Actually, I think The Wolf Among Us is on the App Store.
I think these kind of things are just becoming really viral because they are multiplayer online things, and they've got this really funny, very streamable, sort of streamable approach to them. Where
that's what it is.
I'm talking about in spite of the fact that their title is so similar to a title of a completely different game.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. Been playing anything else, or
because you?
I have a bit. I've been playing a little bit of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon DX.
Oh, cool! That's the remake, isn't it, on the Switch?
Yeah, that's the remake on the Switch. Yeah.
I forgot that was remade.
Yeah, I'm not very far in.
The Mystery Dungeon series, is it a roguelike or something?
Yeah. I don't know if you know much about Mystery Dungeon in general, but so basically, as a quick history lesson,
sorry,
no, it's fine. It started as a Dragon Quest spin-off. As what you play as one of the merchants, and basically you go into these randomly generated dungeons, and it's like turn-based but on a grid. And you have a hunger meter, and death is death. You lose levels.
See, I want to play that one now.
Yeah, well, the PlayStation one you can play because that came out in North America, but the Super Nintendo one is tricky to translate. The hacking is awkward on it, apparently.
Yeah.
So that's a bit. But it's branched off into a franchise in its own right. So there is this own original character called Shiren. We're actually getting one of those on the
Shiren the Wanderer series, is it?
Shiren the Wanderer, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, and that's we're getting the Switch port of the Vita game on this year. Yeah. So that's a good place to jump in. And and they all use the same mechanics essentially.
Yeah.
But some are more soft roguelikes than others. Pokemon is one of the softer roguelikes because you don't lose your level.
Okay.
Also, it's a rogue light.
Yeah. So if you're playing like Sheeran and you're playing the game and you decide, okay, I've got really far and I want to stop now. When you come back to the game, you've lost all your levels.
Really?
And you can store stuff. Like if you get a really good sword, you can find certain pots you put the sword in, and it will send it back to your storage at the beginning of the game.
Okay.
So when you restart the game, your sword's at the beginning, and that's sort of how it's the only way it's kind of you get help in that game.
Okay.
And you can sort of like upgrade it in a mission, and normally you wouldn't be able to upgrade it very far, but if you upgrade it once, send it back to the start, go back through again, upgrade it again, you can get like a plus 20 sword at the start of the game sort of thing. But if you die, that's it.
Because I mean, you might know this already, but just for clarity, like it's always considered a rogue light when there's any aspect of carrying something across.
Yeah, any persistence. Play through. Yeah.
See, I never knew the actual difference.
Yeah, because obviously it's based on a game.
Yeah. Like for instance, I've been playing Prey recently. They got a DLC that's actually a roguelite light. It's amazing, and you lose everything at the start of each run except for your like neuromons, where you get upgrades for your character, which are a huge boost. So it's kind of a big deal. Yeah.
So in Spelunky, you don't keep anything between runs, do you?
No,
really? No, not anything that changes the game in any way.
No. Literally, the only thing you can unlock is shortcuts, which are kind of pointless.
I considered that a light element. Yeah. The ability to jump through to the next area.
I don't know. I might have to. I don't know about that because
I don't find
you still
it
get
useful.
set to nothing, and you're further in the game. So I mean, obviously, you can do that.
It depends if it makes it easier or harder, I suppose, doesn't it?
Not only that, but the game does not consider it a full run either. Like, it doesn't count.
No.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, you can't do a hell run that way either. Well, obviously.
No, the chain will just not work. The only way you might be able to do it is if you start in the jungle, get straight to the. If you're lucky to find the black market. And even then, you're going to be like, you're not going to have enough money unless you're insanely good at finding it, and you're not going to have really enough bombs and anything. So it's going to be a nightmare. So don't do it.
I think I don't think I've ever used. I think I used the shortcuts when I was first playing the game, but otherwise I barely touch them. I don't think I ever touch them now because there's just no point.
That's exactly what I do.
Practice a certain area, there isn't much point.
Yes. So I think outside of that, there's only Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. I think there's Recettear Mystery Dungeon as well.
I'm definitely going to look into those. Because I loved the Chocobo one as well. That was
Chocobo Mystery Dungeon. Same thing. If you play Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon, it's literally the same mechanics. Nothing's really changed.
Old PlayStation 1 game.
It's basically not changed in any.
Oh well, there we go. Then. Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, in that case, I'm very interested.
So you're in this. Your Pokemon will level up, and they will keep their levels, and they learn skills as Pokemon are to do. It has a progression this one's got more of a campaign, a story mode, and apparently after you beat the game, you can do post game where you can start evolving your Pokemon, which is kind of cool. So I've been playing that a bit, and I've also been playing a little bit of Final Fantasy VI because I just pulled out my SNES Mini and I was just in the mood to play Final Fantasy VI. So I've just been playing that. Yeah. I mean, I've played for it a couple. I've played for it a couple times before, but I don't know. I really like the story, but the mechanics kind of get on my nerves a bit.
I just got to because I'm playing it on the classic as well. I just got to the point where you get that wild boy. I can't remember his name.
Oh, Gal.
Wild boy.
Wow, boy.
Gal's your blue mage, essentially.
And it's just, can I really be bothered?
He is the most broken character in the game.
Oh, is he now?
Yeah, really. But my problem with that game is, like, when you level up, you only gain HP and MP. You don't gain any stats. The only way you gain stats is by equipping summons onto your character.
I heard about that. If you get if you grind too much at the start of the game, you can kind of hurt yourself. Is that right?
Yeah, it's hard to screw yourself completely because the game's so easy. but it can make it more difficult than it needs to be. Like, for example, lock is a thief, so speed's important to him, but there's only one summon that gives you speed. So, and that's quite late in the game. So if you start leveling him at the start, you kind of not really utilizing him that well.
Yeah.
And because every character can learn every spell in the game, everyone's kind of the same at the end, and everyone's just spamming Ultima. So it's just, it's that's a shame because I really like the story of 6.
Kind of a bit like 7 in that regard.
Yeah.
What's cool about that is obviously you can make anyone any class, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But at the end of the game, everyone has basically got.
You find out what is best and just copy that on everyone.
Exactly,
for free. Yeah. But yeah, that's about all I've been playing, I think. Yeah.
Cool.
Right.
Cool. So there's just me.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So guys, have I told you lately about a game called Phantasy Star Online 2? Great game. You should all try it. Because that's all I ever play now.
I mean, I guess that's good.
Yeah. It's not
Well, actually, last week I did play some other games. But regarding PSO2, I did finally beat all of the story missions in episode 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you don't actually have to beat the last mission in order to get the kitty pose from the recent story quest.
Oh yes, you were telling us about your
event.
sexy kitty pose.
Yes, I got that pose.
You
I can
certainly
do the
did.
pose now, in case I ever find a use for it, which I'm sure I will, because they say that.
In the heat of a battle.
Yes, I'll be using it in every battle. That's gonna be my new taunt, I guess. But anyways, yeah. In episode 4, it gets a. It's probably one of the more interesting stories that I've seen so far in the game. Just how just the villains in particular. I won't say too much about them, but there's one guy in this story who ends up being the main villain in the end. And this guy, what he did was he's been around for like centuries, and he was actually a bunch of people from all throughout history who used to lead humankind, like a bunch of philosophers from like ancient Greece, ancient Japan, people like that.
He definitely sounds like an RPG villain.
He's definitely one of the most. You know what? He actually does say, "I am God."
Of course
he does.
Like so many anime villains, his goal is to awaken a god to recreate the Earth. Essentially,
he gets out of bed. I have awoken a god. It is me.
It is not actually Dark Falls. Dark Falls is not a god, although Dark Falls is involved in this story.
Hey.
Yeah, a few characters. Yeah, a few characters in this story do have some connection to Dark Falls. Not this guy though. This guy does end up awakening a very similar god, a god of creation, who then uses his body as a vessel. What he wants to do is he wants to destroy the Earth and recreate it, and he keeps talking about how he wants to. He keeps talking about how he wants to advance evolution for humankind, and it's just so delicious. He's such a
delicious.
He's such a deliciously anime villain.
Like
Yeah, and of course there's another guy who's just as much of an anime villain as him who came before, but I'll talk about him some other time. So
we'll get back to you.
So this guy from episode 4, after you beat him, what happens is
I thought you said you were going to spoil
him.
anything.
Well, what happens is you beat him, but you don't beat the god of creation. So he says the god of creation is going to kill. He's going to keep coming back, and you're going to have to keep fighting him, which is the exact same thing that also happens with the other forms of Dark Falls from episodes 1 through 3. You all have to. They're all going to keep coming back, And the reason I say that is to give some context for the urgent quests that come up now and then, because they have you fight these same
makes
bosses
sense.
from the story mode.
Yeah.
Except the fight against this God of Creation thing, this doesn't go exactly the same way as it does in the urgent quest. If anything, in the story mode, it's actually a lot quicker and a lot easier. Because in the urgent quest, he gets a lot bigger and a lot more powerful. And I think that's just because they expect you to fight him with several other players who know what they're doing.
Yeah.
He's
It's
a
almost like a
boss.
new game plus version of him. Yeah.
Kinda. But hey, by doing those urgent quests, you get a lot of experience. And for some urgent quests, there's some particularly rare and interesting exclusive weapons that you can only get through those quests if you're especially lucky.
Yeah.
Which I've never managed to get any of them yet, except for a few from the Summer Wars urgent quests, which are now over.
Yeah. Summer is
Sounds
over.
very much like an online game.
Oh yes.
Yeah. And
It's in the title.
and then on top of that, the idol Kuna came back with a brand new song, which he plays at certain concerts occasionally. But this one's really weird.
This game has a lot of concerts.
Yeah, a lot more than I expected, of course. And this one's really weird because, again, this one's a rhythm mini game, just like the Art
Persona
Dance
ones.
concert and the Persona concerts. The Persona concerts aren't happening anymore either, by the way.
Yeah.
They stopped selling. They finally stopped selling the Persona items. So for this Kuna concert, not only is it a rhythm game, but during the concert, they have this light show where a whole bunch of enemies show up, and she starts flying around the whole area while still singing and shooting all the enemies. And then later she gets joined by a giant mech who battles them with her.
It's quite a show.
Yeah, it is, but it's hard to pay attention because you're supposed to, because it's a mini game, because you have to keep pressing the buttons, and of course they still have that counter at the corner of the screen.
So it's like you're trying to keep to the rhythm, but then there's like all this combat going on.
Yeah, it's way too distracting. I have to show you a video later. It's
Sounds bonkers.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I'm gonna keep playing that later today after the podcast is over because it's PSO2 day.
Hey.
So there's gonna be
Happy
a lot more
PSO2
rare
day.
items today. PSO2 day is the 22nd of every month and the 2nd of every month. Of course, today's not the 22nd, so I think what they're doing now is, in case most people don't have a lot of time, they actually started a day earlier for the second PSO2 day of the month.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what
That's cool.
Yeah, and what happens that day is you get a couple of rare items just for logging in. So even if you don't have time, it's good to just log in. Even if you don't have time to play, it's good to just log into the game today, grab those items, and then get the heck out.
Oh, okay.
And every PSO2 day, there's also an Arcs Rappy that'll randomly show up if you're really lucky. And if you're even luckier than that, beating it will get you an Arcs Rappy suit that you can wear. So you look like a Rappy wearing an Arc suit.
I'm glad they're keeping the rappies going.
Yeah.
Oh,
Those
yeah,
kind of
there's
mascots
always-
for this thing, aren't they?
They are. They really are. They're the Chocobo and the Moogles of this series.
Yeah, I think
sure.
that they were just
Pretty-
called like
Yeah.
Chicky, like to begin with.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
they were in
Yeah,
free
yeah,
at
I don't
first, weren't
They
they?
were, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember them actually using the name Rappy until Phantasy Star 3.
Oh no, they were in
No.
they were in the first one.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I
remember.
know they were in the first. What were they called? Rappies in that game?
Yeah, they were
too?
called rap rappies or something like that, weren't they?
Oh,
Oh,
Something. Yeah, they were called. Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
I might be talking out my bum, but I'm pretty sure I'm right.
Well, I've not gotten that far in Phantasy Star yet. I'm actually stuck in the Motavia dungeon. I
Oh,
need to watch
sorry, no, I'm talking about my bad. I'm talking about Fantasy Star Online 1. Sorry.
Ah,
Oh,
I was to say. Yeah.
oh.
No, they were in 3 first, weren't they?
Yeah,
They were,
Yeah, but they
They
weren't
were.
called
Yeah, they
Rappy
were.
back then.
That's right. Yeah,
Oh, they weren't called Rappies?
Yeah.
Okay.
Chirpers.
Chirpy.
that's it.
Oh,
Oh,
Chirpies, that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, Chirpies.
Right.
It's been a while since I played that game. But
Okay.
anyways, on the 30th of September, they're going to debut episode 5, which, speaking of Phantasy Star 3, that one takes place in a completely new world, much like episode 4 did, where it took place on Earth, like our Earth.
Oh.
But this time, but episode 5 is going to take place in a much more medieval setting.
Oh yeah.
Kind of like what you're used to with Phantasy Star 3.
Oh, that'll be
So
interesting.
that one's a lot more swords and sorcery and a lot less technology.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool.
Interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
3 was
They
like a
also
bit of a-
debut a new class that I can't wait to try, the hero class.
I'm surprised there wasn't already a class called that.
3 was a bit of a mix,
Oh,
wasn't
yeah.
it?
What do you mean, like of fantasy
Phantasy
and
Star
sci-fi?
3?
Yeah, and sci-fi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, every Phantasy Star game takes place 1,000 years after the last, so lots of things change.
Yeah.
They just went
Free's
through a
not
medieval phase at some point, 1,000 years
Yeah.
after the second one. They were just like, oh, let's go back to this. Why
Well,
not?
it was like sitting on
Yeah,
different. It was sitting on a vessel, wasn't it?
Yeah,
That's it,
Ark ship. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Also, technology kind of regressed after the disaster that befell in Phantasy Star 2.
Oh yeah.
That
Any-
bit.
Yeah. Anyways, though, I also played an old game on my Steam account called Recettear.
Oh,
an
yeah, I
item
like
shop
that
tale.
Oh.
I love that game.
Oh yeah, you know about this game.
Yeah.
I've yet to try it, but it does look like my sort of thing.
Oh yeah, it was a big deal when it came out because it was one of the very first Japanese indie games to get an official localization and release on Steam, which is nothing new nowadays. But yeah, Recettear in that sense was quite the trendsetter. Nowadays nobody remembers it, but like it really struck a chord with me.
It was
So
really
I
unique.
finally so I finally decided to go back to it, and it's been a lot of fun. Really re-experiencing that game, and also the game is just unbelievably adorable.
Yeah, I mean,
So
it's
yeah,
definitely
so
on
for
my
those,
radar. I'm pretty sure it's on
Yeah.
my wish list, actually.
Moonlight is
Oh,
good.
really?
I like that game.
well, I can't tell. I couldn't tell you when it goes on sale again because of how old and obscure it is now. But for those who are unaware, Recettear, that game has you take the role of a girl whose father left a while and left her with an excruciatingly high debt, which so she's gonna get her house foreclosed on. So in order to pay off that debt, she converts her house into an item shop because her town is an adventurer's hub. So she can sell items to adventurers and to citizens of the town.
Cool.
So you have to stock the store with items, and you have to barter with customers to sell them for as high of a price as you can without shooing them off by accident. And on top of that, you can also hire adventurers to go dungeon crawling for you, so you can actually do some dungeon crawling to gather up some items at a much cheaper cost so you can sell in the store. And every week you have to gather up enough money for your debt, which goes higher and higher every week. And if you don't have enough money by the end of the week, then poor Recettear loses her house and has to live in a box.
Box.
Aw.
Is that essentially game
That's
over?
really sad.
Yes, that's the game over.
I like it because
Living in
it's
a cardboard box.
if you're the sort of person who wants to get as much money as possible, you might think, oh, I'll just charge them as much as just below as much as they'll pay. But the best way to play the game is to charge them less than the selling price, because
Okay.
then they have more money to play with later, which they obviously
so they can
they-
buy
they
more
can-
things. Yeah.
yeah they come back with a
That's
bigger
true,
wallet
yeah.
next time.
You
That's
have to sell. You have to sell everything for more than the wholesale cost to make a profit, but you do want to have some moderation
Yeah.
because
Yes,
people are gonna walk off if you charge too much. But some customers won't be able to pay as much as certain others can. So like there's a little girl who comes in to buy something occasionally, and children don't have as much money as adults, so you really want to keep your prices down and
She
hope
just
she
comes in
doesn't
with
try
a
to buy
tub full
some.
of pennies and just slowly
And-
counts them out.
And you have to hope that she doesn't buy something that's really expensive.
Mhm.
We'll pay you in
But she can
IOU
still-
vouchers.
Yeah. So, in case people try to search for it on Steam because of me talking about it, it's spelled Recettear.
Yeah, it's a play on the word racketeer.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
comes from the little girl whose name is Recette, and the loan broker who visits her and then helps her with the shop is a fairy named Tyr.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say if you want a more contemporary version, Moonlighter is on like modern platforms, and that's a very similar game.
Oh,
yeah,
I
I've
just
heard of
remembered what
Moonlighter,
Moonlighter is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I've heard of that one. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's
there's been a couple of games about running an item shop in an RPG world since the release of Recettear.
Yeah, I played that one on the 3DS. The 3DS I really liked. It was
Weapon Shop, I must say.
Yes.
it was called
Oh,
Bar Story or something like that. It was quite a basic
I
one.
definitely remember there
do-
being one on the 3DS.
I do remember a game like that called Adventure Bar Story.
That's
That
the
is
one,
on
Adventure Bar Story.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I
really
I
liked
used to
that.
play that game on my old iPod Touch actually.
Yeah,
And then later I got it on the 3DS. I used to like that game too.
that was fun. Yeah, It's
Yeah.
like it's all about making the menus, isn't it? And going off and fighting the monsters for the ingredients. That was fun.
Yeah, and I like games like that have me doing a lot of micromanaging.
Yeah. Oh, that one certainly got like that, wasn't it? Because you had to change the menu every day.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Yeah, apparently everyone.
yeah. There's a lot more work to do in that game. Recettear kind of simplifies things a little bit.
Yeah.
Says,
And
is
then
that,
what?
I was saying, is
Sorry?
that no, it's fine. It's fine.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So the last game I want to talk about real quick is
okay.
the Peacekeepers on
Oh,
Super
yeah.
Nintendo. And if that name
Oh.
sounds familiar, it's because it's one of the 3 Super Nintendo games that's being added to the SNES Nintendo Switch Online app this week.
Oh yes, yeah.
I thought it sounded familiar.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's the
Another
beat 'em up
Jellicoe
that's
game, isn't it?
Yeah, it's another game from Jalico, and it's also one of the games that's in the what is it? The Jalico Brawlers pack, the retro bit multi-cart that I have.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's actually my favorite game on that multi-cart.
I mean, it
So
wouldn't be
it takes-
Brawl Brothers, would it?
I mean, I like Brawl Brothers too, but of the 4 games, that's like my 3rd favorite. But yeah, the Peacekeepers, easily the best of those 3 beat 'em ups. I don't remember if it's part of the Rushing Beat series, which Brawl Brothers is also a part of.
I'm not sure.
But it doesn't feature any of the same characters, and in fact, it takes place in a much darker setting, where you have to battle against an evil corporation that's making biochemicals, which are used to mutate people into sort of super soldiers. So, most of the enemies you're going to be fighting in this game are mutants, essentially.
Apparently, it is a Russian Beat game in Japan. Yeah.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's,
Yeah.
It's,
well,
it's the final
do
game
remember-
in the trilogy, essentially.
Okay, that's weird because it doesn't have much to do with the other games aside from it being a beat 'em up.
Yeah.
It doesn't feature any of the characters from the older games either.
Hmm.
But I know it does have the angry mode from that game.
Angry
Which
mode.
Yeah, maybe I don't know if you noticed, but Brawl Brothers has this thing called angry mode, which you can turn off in the options. But when it's on, when you're below a certain level of health, you get enraged, which causes you to become temporarily invincible, as well as faster and have your attacks deal much more damage. Think of it kind of like the rage system from Samurai Showdown.
I was going to say, that's what these
except-
things are generally called most of the time.
Yeah,
Not angry
yeah.
mode.
Except this activates on its own.
Yeah.
And what sets the Peacekeepers apart, besides its setting, is that it does actually have multiple paths. So at certain points, you run across a fork in the road, and you have to decide which direction you want to go. which slightly alters the story and oftentimes has you facing off against different bosses. And of course, the areas that you go through are just so big that sometimes you have to really search for the extra path that you have to take.
Yeah.
But there's no maze sections where they have you go in circles over and over like in Brawl Brothers, thankfully. And what's also nice is that as you progress through it, you also gain more characters than just the 4 that you can start out with.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
I guess
And then,
me and Hunk Thunder will probably be playing that on, what was it, Thursday?
Yeah, I'm sure you will. And I'm sure you're going to like this game. There's one thing I do want to warn you about, though.
Oh, right.
The music in this game blows.
Apparently, apparently the Western version replaced all the music from the Japanese one, so maybe that's why they made loads of changes.
But the reason I want to bring this up is because when you play the game, the music is actually turned off by default.
Oh, it's that bad that they put that there. It's just like, we'll pretend this didn't happen.
Not really, because in the options you can turn it off. You can turn the music back on. But
the fact that it's off by default makes me think they were a bit embarrassed.
I guess, but without the music, the game just plays. It just plays ambient sounds in its place instead. Which I would personally recommend. So when you play this game on your own time, just bring your own music, or you can turn the music on and you can see. Or you can turn the music on and you can see exactly what I'm talking about.
Also, hopefully it'll be on the Japanese version of the SNES app as well, and we can compare, see if it's got the Japanese version of the game. I wonder.
I looked it up. I don't think they're adding it. At least not yet.
Ah, are they not? Ah, that's a shame. I would have been
no,
nice to compare.
For the Japanese side. For the Japanese side of things, they're also getting Donkey Kong Country 2 and Mario Super Picross like we are. But instead of the Peacekeepers, they're getting Fire Emblem Mystery of the Emblem.
Man.
which is the first Fire Emblem on the Super Famicom, which also stars Marth.
And the sequel, technically.
Yeah. I keep forgetting it's a sequel. I keep thinking it's a remake.
It's a
thinking of
sequel.
Yeah.
Oh, it is a remake?
Yeah, it remakes the first game, and then they made a second game built into it.
Oh, okay. I got confused because it was also remade on the DS. Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon, which came out in the US. I actually have that game.
Yeah, me too. They only gave you half the game on the DS.
Oh, really? It was split into 2 games?
Yeah, only Japan got the second half, so fun.
Oh, damn.
Love when they do that. Shining Force free.
Yeah.
You would think Nintendo wouldn't do that.
Well,
anyway, yeah, that's all I've been playing.
Right.
Wait.
Cool.
Okay, yeah, it is all I played.
Wait. Yeah. Right. I guess we should probably move on to the news because we actually have got quite a bit of stuff this week.
Ooh,
and
yes.
It's quite meaty.
It's been
So
a busy week.
Probably.
it has been a pretty busy week. One of them just happened today, and this is a big one. So this is probably one of the biggest acquisitions of a game studio that's kind of ever happened, both in price and just the quantity of stuff. But basically,
Biggest one to my knowledge.
yeah, this literally happened like earlier today. I think there were rumblings about it, and then a Bloomberg article went out, and then Microsoft basically announced it a few hours ago. But Microsoft have purchased ZeniMax Media and Bethesda.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happened.
$7.5 million. Was it million or
Billion.
billion?
Yeah,
Billion
that's
dollars. I just did a Austin Powers thing there. $1 million. Yeah. To put that into perspective, $7.5 billion. Right. So Disney paid $4.5 billion for LucasArts. Yes. Star Wars. And, all the other stuff that they don't really care about. So, yeah, that's a lot of money. Microsoft...
Monkey Island.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm talking about, like, Disney actually caring.
Yeah.
But yeah, straight away, it's nice to see this official image where they're basically showing a majority of their franchises. So
Yeah.
So basically, they're going to own Dishonored, Wolfenstein, Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Doom, Starfield, Evil Within, Prey, many other things, and all those studios at the bottom there: Arcane Studios, ID, Tango Gameworks, the works. Just it's a lot.
Wait a minute. I've just had an idea.
What's that?
ZeniMax is, well, it owns ID Software or id Software, don't they?
Yeah.
Remember that?
ZeniMax is Bethesda's partner company. Yes.
Yeah.
Parent company.
Parent
company. Sorry, not partner company.
Yeah.
Remember that viral video of Bill Gates pretending to do a shotgun in Doom? Everything's gone full circle.
Yeah,
everyone's.
I think I've seen that image on Twitter today, so that's that'll be it. Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, Bill Gates doesn't work for Microsoft anymore, but still.
No. But he did that.
Yeah.
He did it. He was there at the time.
He was there at the time.
Yep.
So
was a big selling point for Windows 95.
I guess this is a huge one. This is a lot of franchises.
I didn't see this coming at all.
No, I don't think
they were doing all right.
They paid $7.5 billion. Microsoft must have really wanted these companies bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't necessarily think that ZeniMax were doing badly. They probably just saw an easy way of a payout. I mean,
yeah, exactly. It's a lot of money.
It's like Mr. Krabs always said, money talks.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know that ZeniMax has any personal love for the games industry. So if they got a big payout and they could walk away, the shareholders were probably happy.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, at least Microsoft kind of gives a damn about video games.
We shall see.
So yeah, I just wanted to sort of prick your ears about how you think this is going to go down, because the way I look at it, as Xbox Microsoft have purchased a lot of studios over the years. They have a lot of their own exclusive stuff which they basically paid money to get. They basically found ways of their way of getting new studios is not to form new studios, it's to purchase existing ones. But I feel like this is probably one of the better places Bethesda could end up if they had to be purchased by anyone, because Microsoft have been pretty good when it comes to multi-platform.
Yeah.
And I feel like just because it says Xbox plus Bethesda doesn't make me think that this is going to be... Xbox at this point is just a brand. It's not strictly the consoles. It is just kind of like what they call all their studios now. And if you play any of the games that they've published, for example, on the Switch or the PS4, it just comes up with like Xbox Studios, doesn't it? It's like it's their blanket brand for gaming, basically. And I feel like Microsoft have been very good at, for example, when they purchased Minecraft, they knew Minecraft is way too big to just make that exclusive. Plus, making it multi-platform, it's just more money for them when you think about it. Yeah, they're getting a cut from every console. It would be dumb to make these exclusive to, like, say, the Xbox Series or anything like that. There's just no way that's going to happen.
Only if they felt like it was a big enough game to make someone buy a console over it.
Yes, I feel like timed exclusives are probably the most you're going to see here out of this stuff.
Only have one slight concern, and that's with Arcane Studios, because one of my favourite games of all time is Dishonored, and it's one of those games, one of those series where I don't actually want to see a million games made of it. I just don't think it needs that. Dishonored 2 did a really good job of wrapping up the story with the end of the DLC, where the only way they could make a third game is basically it's called the Death of the Outsider, so you can guess like the Outsider is like this sort of deity that's been like the shadowy hand behind all of the events of the two games. And you either kill him or because that game's obsessed with high and low chaos, you can sort of spare him where you take away his power and he walks the street basically lost as a normal human. So the only way they could make another game is if they basically make it probably about him and something happens to him. And I'm just worried about if they're spending all this money to grab these studios and therefore their IPs, I just hope they don't end up sort of rinsing them and like making a load of Dishonored and a load of praise, because what I love about Arcane Studios is they make a game or two and then they move on. Like they've done 2 Dishonored games, and even Dishonored 2 wasn't going to originally be a thing. Like it was the two sort of big directors when it was Harvey Smith and I can't remember the French guy. They basically split off and did different things, didn't they? And then the other one did Prey. And so again, I don't really know if you need another Prey. And Arcane's so good. They've already moved on, haven't they, to their next game, which definitely
which funnily enough was announced as a PS5 exclusive.
Yeah, that's odd, isn't it?
It's a timed exclusive
I feel like
now,
that.
I guess.
Yeah, I would imagine that's still gonna happen. Like, there's no way they're gonna stop that. It's too far along, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? No, I don't want to see Arcane Studios games just get like
see
sort of
that
rinsed.
happening. I don't feel like this purchase is basically just going to be Microsoft going, right, get to work, make more games, because look at Rare. If anything, it's the complete opposite with Rare, because they barely make any games.
Yeah.
I mean, even after they bought Rare, Microsoft did still allow Rare to make games on Nintendo's handheld platforms. More or less
not
just
so much
because they didn't
at the time, but definitely the handhelds, GBA in that.
But at the time, they were trying a lot harder to compete with other consoles. But Nintendo's handhelds, they didn't think of those as competition.
Exactly, yeah.
Because they didn't make any handhelds. A Game Boy Advance was not the same as an Xbox or a PC.
Yeah.
My worry is this may be a bad take, but I worry that Microsoft won't treat Bethesda very well as a company. I think that, like I say, we've seen what happened with Rare and what happened with Lionhead Studio.
Yeah,
I know they've only just started working on Fable, haven't they? After all these years,
so they get asinine projects and don't really let them do their big projects.
That would be awful.
Yeah,
and bad.
Because they'll probably just focus on the Fallout and Elder Scrolls, wouldn't they? Really, because those are the two.
I guess.
They'll sell like hotcakes even after.
I feel like that's why this image that they've officially put out is kind of maybe a little bit reassuring, because it doesn't just show one of those IPs.
That's true.
It's even showing Prey, and Evil
Within.
So, exactly. Even that's on there.
That's a very good point, though.
Yeah, it feels like they are going, hey, this is like what they're known for. I don't know. It's hard to say, isn't it? Because obviously it's literally just happened. It's going to be years before we see the ramifications of what this actually means. And the way I also look at it as, like, it could have been worse. Like, if, for example, if Sony bought Bethesda, they would definitely end up being PS5 exclusive.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, because Sony are definitely in that mentality still where their games are almost exclusive, with a couple exceptions. With a couple exceptions. They put stuff like what's it called? The game with the really generic
Horizon Zero Dawn.
That's the
on
one.
Steam now.
The one with the really generic title. That's just a bunch of buzzwords. Yeah, that one. That's on PC now. But otherwise, I feel like if they went to Sony, these would have definitely been a lot more. This is definitely going to be like a massive plus for the Xbox consoles, because as you can imagine, these will be either timed exclusive, or in certain cases they might be exclusive. It's really hard to say.
And they will be on PC.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing, because Microsoft obviously they do PC gaming as well. They're just as supportive of that as they are their consoles. They even got Game Pass on PC now.
Yeah.
Not to mention Microsoft doesn't lock all of their games to the Windows Store anymore, so you can buy them on Steam.
Exactly. Yeah, they've been pretty good.
Or you will be able
getting
to buy
their
them
stuff elsewhere.
Yeah,
I feel like they've been pretty decent with that. I mean, just look at some of the indie games that they technically published and then they put out on other systems, like Ori and Cuphead.
Yeah, I was going to say Cuphead.
Yeah. And then also things like, letting Banjo-Kazooie be in Smash Brothers and all that kind of stuff. They've been quite supportive of like other consoles and stuff. So I feel like that's not really going to be a huge worry. But I guess we'll see. One thing that was really funny about this trending on Twitter is one of the hashtags that was trending, or one of the terms that was trending, was Konami. Because everyone on Twitter is now going, right, Sony, you have to buy Konami? As a retaliation?
Oh.
So, Okay, that's
Yeah.
random.
Yeah, do we really
It
want
would be nice,
Bomberman
though,
games to
wouldn't
be
it?
PS5 only?
Yeah. And at the moment, the latest one's a Stadia exclusive, so
It would be nice if someone got hold of Konami, though.
yeah, it'd be
I
nice
think
if
it
someone
would
did
be-
something with their IPs.
Yeah.
Nintendo should buy them, really.
Well, that's the thing.
I
Yeah,
don't
no,
think
yeah, that's
Nintendo
a
are
really good
really
point.
the
In
kind
terms
of.
of Castlevania,
When has I feel like Nintendo are the
Monolith.
one studio that doesn't really do that so much.
Yeah, Monolith,
Yeah.
they did.
Yeah, Monolith's like
Game Freak, I guess.
Game Freak. Yeah, mainly companies that work with them a lot.
They
That
have a
work on
decent
first-party games, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also feel like this could have been a lot worse. They could have gone to, for example, Activision Blizzard.
Yeah.
Think about
Yeah,
that.
they could have.
Think about how that could have gone. That if you're talking about like just pumping out tons of sequels of something
Yeah.
and filling it with even more microtransactions, then Activision Blizzard would be the one to fear. But
yeah.
What if Konami bought Bethesda?
I don't think they could.
No, I don't think they could.
I don't think they have
could either, but
7.5
what if-
billion lying around.
I don't think they could either, but imagine if they did.
Well, I mean, if you want a Fallout pachinko machine, there you go.
Other than
That's all
that,
you'd
everyone would
get.
just. Other than that, everyone would just be sitting on their hands all year round.
Yeah.
I think if you're a Fallout, Elder Scrolls, Doom, Wolfenstein fan, you're probably fine. Nothing's really going
Yes.
to change much for you.
Yeah.
Dishonored maybe. But yeah, I don't think it's going to make a massive dent. But my only concern is really like if they do pull a Rare, but I don't think it's not Microsoft
can't.
back then.
They've got so many studios and so many projects that they're still working on, many massive ones like the next Elder Scrolls and Starfield and all that kind of stuff. I
Starfield,
can't see them. The way they treated Rare when they first purchased them was rough, but after a while, I think once we got into like the Xbox One era, they basically just let them do what they want to do, which in the case of this generation was Sea of Thieves and then that other game I've forgotten the name of that they're working on at the moment. But it feels like they're not like making them pump out tons of sequels and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Much
and
to the
also
dismay of some fans that want a new Banjo-Kazooie and stuff like that. But you know how well that went last time. So
also with regards
Yeah.
to Lion, let's be honest, it's not really entirely Microsoft's fault. You know, you put Peter Molyneux behind anything, you're asking for it.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. Exactly. Plus, Sony have also been pretty guilty of shutting down quite a lot of studios that they purchased as well, like quite a few. And also, Bethesda didn't end up with EA, so that's also
Yeah, then they would be.
they would definitely be dead if they went with EA. After give them 5 years, and they'd be gone.
Activision Blizzard shuts down a bunch of companies too.
Yeah, exactly. It's I don't know. I feel like this kind of I like Bethesda and Xbox kind of makes sense to me.
Well, they
like a
ZeniMax
brand
stuff
standpoint. I just feel like their games I've always associated a lot of Bethesda stuff with Xbox. I know they're
I don't think-
anything else, but
More like PC, really, because all of those games,
mostly
like Elder
PC
Scrolls,
stuff,
all that,
yeah.
they feel so much more at home on the PC. They just
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
control scheme. I really want to get hold of. Yeah, now I've finally got my computer up and running again. I want to grab the Dishonored games on Steam.
Yeah, I mean, I think, to be honest, in all likelihood, if it either nothing's really going to change from a consumer point of view, or it might even get marginally better just because ZeniMax wasn't a good company.
Yeah,
You know,
that's a really good point. Yeah.
you know, it's not like would be falling very far. You'd only fall by being in EA's hands or whatever, really.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I think it'll be all right.
Right, I guess
Okay.
we'll move on to the next thing. This one's quite interesting. So, Michel Ancel, the creator of Rayman and Beyond Good and Evil and King Kong, the official game of the video game of the motion picture experience, whatever it was called.
Yeah.
And the Rabbids. Don't forget the Rabbids.
He technically did.
Oh yeah, and the rabbits, yeah. He's basically retiring from video games. Like,
okay.
So this just sort of came out of the blue. This, for disclosure, this has absolutely nothing to do with all the drama that's been happening with Ubisoft like in general, as far as we know, anyway. Like,
yeah.
this is...
There is a trade union like trying to say otherwise, but citation needed for the time being.
Okay, right.
He's better off distancing himself from it somehow, anyways.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
definitely. I'm gonna say that this feels like he's definitely like distancing himself from the whole drama of that. But basically, he put out an Instagram post. It was just like this little video where he's like watching like this fox nick food from his packed lunch or something, and it has on it. Well, I'll just read what it says at the bottom. It says. Today is very special for me. After more than 30 years, I've decided to stop working on video games and fully focus on my second passion, wildlife. My new project takes place in the real world and consists in a wild open sanctuary dedicated to education, nature lovers and wild animals. Many of you might want to know what will happen to Wild and Beyond Good and Evil 2. No worries, since many months now, the teams are autonomous and the projects are still going super well. Beautiful things will be seen soon.
Yes, and there was also a confirmation from Ubisoft themselves about what this means for Beyond Good and Evil 2. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So basically, those projects are not cancelled because he's leaving. They're basically... Yeah,
there's no way they'd be able to anyway. Like this, people go.
And this has also caused like, a bit of a buzz, especially like within the Rayman community.
I can imagine.
Yeah, a lot of people feel like really emotional about it. I mean, even I've left a bit of a heartfelt comment on that Instagram post.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
So that Rayman really did practically hold my life together, especially when I was like a broken teenager.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for Rayman, I wouldn't have been drawing like so much fan art to put on the internet. I wouldn't have joined DeviantArt and then eventually meet you.
Yeah, exactly. That's how we met each other, was through our art online. So, yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite cool when you think about it.
I know it was the Amiga one, but yeah, still.
Yeah.
You know, if not for Rayman, I wouldn't have been looking at stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
That explains so much about you two.
Yeah, so he's basically, I wouldn't say retiring because he's going into a new job, but like he's basically just
pivoting
out of video games, which it's his other passion. Arguably it's a much more important mission than video games. When you think about it, like looking after wildlife is super important, especially with a lot of animals slowly going extinct or very quickly going extinct. Apparently there's scares in this country now about hedgehogs. Maybe they're not only endangered but almost close to extinct in this country now. So that's really scary.
I wouldn't mind seeing badgers go.
After the experiences you've been having with them.
I've had 3 now.
Oh god, just like gangs of badgers just ganging up on you.
They know you're coming.
Maybe I just smell of ham.
Yeah.
That'll be it.
Yeah, you know what animals are like. But it's pretty normal for like anyone under 50 to retire early, or like, get to a pension or however it works.
Get into a different line of work for a while.
Yeah,
I can imagine video game development is incredibly stressful, whereas being out in the wild and looking after animals has probably also got its stressful moments, but is also probably quite nice.
The pace is probably slower, isn't it?
Oh, big time, yeah. Also, he mentioned Wild. Remember that? Remember Wild?
I actually have no idea what that is.
Okay, so this was a game he was developing not with Ubisoft but with Sony, and they revealed it at a PS4 reveal years ago now. I can't actually remember what year it was now.
It was a long time ago.
It feels like eons ago.
Okay, I don't remember this at all. Must have
was
been
like
quite a while ago.
It was like a open world type thing.
Yeah, it looked really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favourite
if he
thing
brought
about
it
that,
up,
basically, it was this game where you play as like shamans, I believe, and you could basically just like place your. It was basically Mario Odyssey before Mario Odyssey. You could
Yeah,
basically
it kind of
put your
was.
spirit into any animal that you see, and there was this absolutely amazing bit in that demonstration, wasn't there? Because they had this big gameplay demonstration.
Are you all looking it up?
No. There was just a weird comment I just blocked on the chat.
Oh no, I saw that. I saw that. It's just I was just wondering, like, everyone's gone quiet. I wonder if they're all looking it up.
Oh yeah.
Well, so.
There was this amazing part in it where they're basically trying to infiltrate this tribe, wasn't there? And they like use a snake to sneak through the water, and then the spirit just takes over like a whole flock of seagulls, and they just attack the tribe of all these seagulls, and then they run in with a bear and just start beating up all the tribe with this bear. It was amazing. Also, there was a giant sexy snake lady, so there was that too. That was years ago now. I can't even remember what year that was. I think it was like 2016 or 17, something like that. It
hasn't been cancelled.
Yeah, apparently it hasn't been cancelled.
I guess not if he brought it up.
I mean, he has been bringing it up occasionally, and again, Beyond Good and Evil 2, that game is in such a strange place where we have no idea what's going on with that at this point. It might even be a completely different project to what it was before.
It feels worryingly
Beyond
like...
in development and cancelled.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't think this game's going to get cancelled because Ubisoft seem to be investing a lot into it. They've described it as not a triple A game, but a quadruple A game.
Oh, God.
That's how ambitious it is, I suppose.
So far,
that just makes me think the game is going to cost like over $100 just for the regular version.
Just to own it, because they need to get their money back, because it's probably going to cost billions and billions.
Yeah.
I don't even know why it's called Beyond Good and Evil 2, because it's got absolutely nothing to do with it. It's got literally nothing to do with the first game now. It may as well be just called something else. But just rename it. It really doesn't need to be called that. Like, if you're going to make a Beyond Good and Evil 2, at least make it remotely like the original game, which was pretty great. But apparently they're also planning like a Netflix series or like a Netflix movie.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they're actually investing quite massively into this. So
really
I can't see
movie
this
based on Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard anyway.
Not the first game, the second
Yep,
game.
I don't think the first one's got any relevance to this at this point. It's just called that because it's called that. Because Michel Ancel deemed it so, I guess. I don't know. But it's been quite some time since we've seen anything of that game. But yeah, I guess it is still in the works. So it's just super duper ambitious. And I do remember Ancel saying like, "Oh, I'll get to Rayman. I just need to finish Wild and Beyond Good and Evil 2." It's like, oh, we're never seeing Rayman then.
Well, the thing is, Rayman 3 was like the one made in the Game the Core series that didn't really have Michel like heavily involved in it. It was just like a creative consultant.
Yeah, that's
and
true. You can kind of tell.
Yeah, and also, so we've got the director of Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. His name's David Soliani.
You may remember him as the guy that cried at E3.
Oh, that was sweet.
That was really sweet.
Oh, I made the
him. I do remember that.
And basically, he's one of his responses to the news is that he'd love to make a Rayman game. Whether they would let him do that or not we don't know. But somewhere in my galaxy brain, he would be a good candidate for being Rayman's new papa.
Yeah, I think so.
Judging how well Mario and Rabbids went, like I still feel like that game had the worst concept I've ever heard. Like when people described it, when it was being rumoured, I was like, "What the hell is that?" Like who wants Mario with guns, like an XCOM thing with rabbits?
It's like before with Sonic.
Yeah, but usually when it happens with Sonic, it doesn't work.
Yeah,
but this game they absolutely smashed
Well, I mean,
it.
Sonic only tried it once.
No, I'm just talking about weird ideas in general, but like.
I know. I'm just.
And
it was supposed to be a joke.
Yeah. One of the other points I have as well in regards to David Saliani is the Game Boy Color version of Rayman was his first project.
Oh, was it?
And recently he's been tweeting like the original sketches for some of the artwork in that.
Oh, I think I saw some of that. He had like all the maps of
Yeah,
the Game
it
Boy
was the
Color
maps.
game.
Which game was this?
The Game Boy Color version of Rayman, like the first game.
Oh, the Game Boy Color version.
Yes. That was like the sort of...
It's kind of like a demake, isn't it, of the original
yeah,
game?
I'd say that. But
Yeah, it was. That's what it was. Yeah.
it was a bit of a mishmash, really. It was mainly based on the first game, but it was done in a way so that it was in line with Rayman 2.
Oh, what, plot-wise, or?
Like the whole feel of it. It had Rayman 2 music.
I see, yeah.
It had cover artwork with like mainly the Rayman 2 model.
Yeah, because it was around that era when
Ubisoft were trying to bank on Rayman.
That's the thing, like back then, back in those days, that was kind of like Ubisoft's premier title, wasn't it? It was only when it was kind of only really in like the 360 era that they started getting big type. Like they were slowly building up stuff like Far Cry and Tom Clancy.
It was their Mario.
It really was like
and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if it was like that, Rayman was their biggest thing for a while. Outside of like the Tom Clancy stuff was starting to like skyrocket pretty much as soon as that just hit the floor running essentially. But up until like the 360 era, I feel like that's when they started. They found their footing with loads of different franchises that they could do angrily, like Assassin's Creed and all that kind of stuff. But Rayman, outside of like Origins and Legends, which I will still put up there as like some of my favourite platformers ever. They were amazing. Just curious where this is gonna lead for like Rayman in general, or because obviously nothing was happening anyway because he was busy with these two other projects, but apparently they're still going, and it is actually quite cool to hear that Wild is still going ahead. I can imagine the next time we see it, if we see it, it'll be very different. I'm going to imagine it's a completely different game, because when they first revealed it, it was like an early PS4 game.
Yeah.
I guess.
That's how long ago it was.
I mean, this could... I mean, it's not in the nicest context, but it could lead to a Rayman game sooner rather than later.
Maybe. It's really down to Ubisoft at this point, and at this point I don't really trust them to do anything with it, because I don't know. But...
I guess it could go either way. All I really know for certain is that we're not going to hear from Michel Ancel for quite some time.
Well, he wants to chill. He wants to cool down from probably a very hectic career.
Yeah.
I don't blame him, to be honest.
I wouldn't blame him after working that for as long as he did.
And working on games as ambitious as the two that he has been working on.
Yeah. I mean, he was a teenager when he started at Ubisoft, so yeah.
He was, he was working on Amiga stuff first, wasn't he? And Atari ST games.
Yeah.
That was like his early days, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think what it is with Rayman at the moment is it's very geared towards like mobile gaming. Even like I believe the ones behind like Mini and Adventures are called Pasta Games.
Oh yes, they're the guys that do the mobile spin-offs.
Yeah, in fairness, even people from Pasta Games are kind of sick of doing mobile only games in the Legend style.
Yeah,
so,
probably thinking, can we make a full game?
or just something else.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just gonna keep my Galaxy brain going.
Your Galaxy brain.
Yeah.
Might as well.
We got Rayman
that's
Redemption, so
going,
yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, with all this stuff
that was something special.
It really was. It's still, I'd still say that's probably one of the most ambitious fan games ever made. Like, and the fact that they actually finished it as well is insane. Right, I guess we will move on to the next bit of news. So earlier in the week, M2 had a Japanese live stream where they revealed a bunch of stuff, and amongst it was a Aleste Collection.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So this is a PlayStation 4 and Switch release, and it includes essentially all the 8-bit Aleste games, so the ones they did for the Master System and the Game Gear. So that is Aleste on the Mark III, Power Strike 2 on the Master System, which didn't actually come out in Japan, so this will actually be a debut for them, I suppose. I think it was like a European and Brazilian exclusive. And then it's also got GG Aleste and GG Aleste 2 on it. But what's really cool about this is there's going to be a special edition of the game that comes with a exclusive white Game Gear Micro that also contains these games.
And
I would really be up for that.
there's also a version of the telescope thing as well that comes with it, I believe.
The
Oh,
big
really?
vision.
Oh, yeah,
one,
yeah, like the thing that makes the screen actually viewable. Yeah. I think they did actually show off a bit of the Game Gear Micro on that stream as well, because I was watching bits of it while or seeing it all pop up on Twitter. Because they also showed footage of a new Aleste game that they're working on as well. I can't remember the name of it now, but I think it's going to be like a Switch and PS4 game as well. But I think it's early in development at this point. But yeah, a little bit disappointed it doesn't have all the Aleste games. Like, for example... Whoa, Jesus.
You're right there.
That was incredibly loud. It was just... Jesus.
That's the kind of thing I would have done.
I didn't even hear what it was.
Me neither.
Where's Musha?
Yeah, where's Musha? Where's Robo Aleste? Where's Super Aleste? You know, I feel like maybe that will be a second collection. Like if they're only putting the Game Gear games on here, then maybe we'll get the other games later. Kind of like what they did with those Darius collections, where you know they did like the original arcade games first, and then they're going to be doing that one with Darius Burst and G Darius on it later, aren't they?
I mean, I'll buy
That's
it.
kind of what I thought too.
I just think that's really cool that you can play this on your modern console and then you can play it on a teeny weeny little Game Gear as well. I feel like they finally made a Game Gear Micro that has a full set of games I actually want on it that I'll actually be able to play, and not just like Japanese RPGs or a
Not gonna
Sonic
lie,
game.
I'm really, really tempted, but with that one.
You'll never be able to get it, sadly.
I mean,
quite
for me, my
expensive
only
as well, this collector's edition, it's like what is it, 14,800 yen. That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah. Of course, for me, it's still the Game Gear Micro. So I'm
yeah, exactly. It's still
You're not
just
interested in that?
It's more a toy than anything, isn't it? Really, it's too small to conceivably actually play something on. It's essentially the size of a FMU, from what I've seen.
Why
In fact,
did they make it that bloody small?
I know. Obviously, we talked about this when it got announced, but why didn't they just like make a Game Gear Mini that actually had quite a substantial amount of games
I'd
on
the
it?
crap out of that.
Exactly.
I'm not
Yeah,
sure, but
That's what I thought it was going to be at first.
But I think they're treating this one differently. They're treating this as like a little gimmicky toy as opposed to an actual, you know, plausible thing to play games on.
But you know, the Genesis, like I said before, the Genesis Mini was also kind of a toy. But
It was,
this is
but
made
it was a toy that you could actually, you know, it wasn't just
play
like
it.
But my point is that the Genesis Mini was made in such a way where it has easy worldwide appeal, whereas the Game Gear Micro, they made that as something that exclusively Japanese fans would enjoy. That's how they designed the hardware.
I suppose, yeah. I mean,
And I
you do
I
get
feel
like
like they
little
really-
toys of like, you know, you get like those little replica arcade machines that just have like an NES port on them, like that Mappy one I've got. I think
that's
they're
what I
treating
mean.
it like one of those. They're kind of treating it like one of those. Obviously, it's not as cheap as one of those because it's got a whole Game Gear emulator inside it, so it's a bit more complicated. But yeah,
and to me, I feel like it's a missed opportunity where they could have made something that could appeal to everyone worldwide, not just Japan.
Yeah,
it's not like
it's
not like the game.
We've talked
It's
about
not
this
like
before,
the game.
but...
Yeah, I mean, it's not like the Game Gear was only released in Japan and nowhere else.
No, of course not. I do feel like they I still think there's a small chance we might get a couple of the Game Gear micros over here, just with completely different games on them. I think it might happen.
Yeah, I think we might.
I think there's zero chance of it happening.
Really?
I wouldn't say zero,
Yeah,
but I'd say
absolutely
maybe
no
Probably
chance.
a slim chance.
Yeah,
Maybe like
20%
10%. 10%,
I
20%.
bloody hope we. Yeah, I do want to get one.
Yeah, you might have to import it.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I mean, I'm not gonna complain if it does make it here, but I'm pretty sure Sega of America just sees it as too much of an uphill battle to market the thing here.
Yeah, I can
if
see
they
that.
were-
I
yeah.
can see that.
Yeah.
And if they did plan to release it here, I'm sure they would have said so by now. It's not like they took a year. To announce
Exactly,
the
yeah,
Genesis
that's
Mini.
true. Yeah, I
after
think
the,
if they were going to bring it over, they would have already
Yeah,
announced
no, this is massively lower
Yeah,
profile.
because
Yeah.
I
they
just
announced
hope we're going to get the Astro
the
6.
Genesis Mini was announced for the US and the Mega Drive Mini for Europe the day after it was revealed for Japan.
But then we also
So
haven't heard anything about the Astro City Mini outside Japan yet,
Yeah,
so that's also
really
a bit
hope
nebulous
we
at the
get
moment.
I don't think
And that's
that's
a
going to
far
happen
more
here
that's
either.
a far more approachable thing than the micro Game Gear.
The Aleste Collection might come out here.
Yeah,
not
just
the
without
Game-
the Game Gear.
Yeah, the Game Gear I don't think is going to come here at all, but
Nah.
sure. The one for consoles, yeah, that might happen.
So,
Speaking of this collection, so on the stream they mentioned that there is another announcement related to this collection that they were going to reveal at TGS, and obviously we haven't seen it yet, but apparently a Japanese Twitter essentially leaked the information. They haven't shown any screenshots or anything, but basically, you know, it's an M2 collection. They love doing stuff like this. Basically, at TGS they're going to reveal a GG Aleste 3. They're making a brand new Game Gear game that
That's awesome.
will apparently
that's
push
right.
the Game Gear to its absolute limits, just like these games did, but even more so. They're making a official brand new Game Gear game.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if that's going to be on the Game Gear Micro as well as the collection on the Switch and the PS4, but if it's on the actual Game Gear Mini as well, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
But I love when
I would
they
love
do
to-
this. This is my
I would
favourite
love
thing
to
about
play it.
M2.
Yeah.
You know, what they did with Phantasy Star 2 Deluxe, and they also did it with a few other like enhanced ports on like the TurboGrafx Mini, and they have a habit of like going the extra mile, which I really appreciate.
Yep.
Oh, I love
They
it
made that
too.
Tetris game for the Mega Drive Mini. That's another
Yep,
thing.
and
Yeah.
the Darius port as well, which they collaborated with a fan to make as well. So yeah,
Yeah, that was a thing.
This is
as
why I
well.
love M2. I love when they do stuff like this.
The thing is, Aleste isn't like a huge franchise, and this has got a lot of the games on it.
Yeah.
So you could probably squeeze the rest on another
Oh,
collection.
easily. You could easily make a second collection with Robo Super and Lucia. And
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, I would buy that. I own two. No, actually, I think I own all three of those games, but
You could even put
most
like
people don't.
because that's related, isn't it?
Which one was that, sorry?
Spriggan on the PC Engine. I think that's in the
Possibly.
same.
I know there's a
Yeah,
license attached
That game
to
is
that, but-
similar.
Yeah.
That game is very similar.
Oh,
so
yeah,
is
it's basically the same
So is
thing.
Blazing Lasers.
Yeah,
actually.
Gunhead. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that one's technically like an anime license. So
Yeah,
I don't know if that would happen. but it'd be
Gunhead-
cool.
Gunhead was based on a movie, but
Among the-
Blazing Lasers is the same game, but with the movie license stripped out.
Yeah, we were talking about Spriggan, but
Oh, Spriggan.
yeah, that's based on an anime.
Well,
Or manga.
Spriggan is an anime, but it's not the same as that video game. The anime, well, there's a couple of things named Spriggan.
Basically,
but
all
the
I'm saying
Spriggan
is
I'm
it's
familiar
licensed.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's exactly like the anime. I'm just saying it's licensed from an anime.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is coming west, but I suppose it'll be easy enough to play on the Switch if you import it. So
Yeah, exactly. I could be tempted to get just the game on its own. I don't think I'm that fussed about the Game Gear as cool. But if I was to get a Game Gear Micro, it would be that one because I'm gonna play
Yeah.
every game on it. Whereas most of the other ones are like, Oh, it's got like 2 games I can play and then 2 that I can't play because they're all in Japanese.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like, there's not
the
a
way they've
collection
split
that's
them
like
as well.
proper.
They should have
yeah.
made one that was just like 4 Sonic games and then one with like all
So
the
up
Shining
for
Force stuff.
pre-order now
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Alright.
from Play Asia, though the get one with the Game Gear's already sold out.
Ah,
Of course.
of course.
Yes.
So
That's
this is coming out Christmas Eve? By the looks of it?
December 24th.
Yeah, Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Happy Christmas. Have some Aleste.
Have a look at Christmas.
Having that
Is
Aleste
that gonna be?
Christmas.
It's the Christmas miracle.
Is that going to be before?
didn't- It's the Christmas miracle.
Is that going to be before or after our? Is that going to be before or after our 100th podcast episode?
This would be after.
That'll be after.
This will be after. If we keep this going weekly, then we'll reach it by the start of December, basically.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
Right. So
I
that's.
can't wait for that.
Yeah, me neither. It's going to be fantastic. Right. I guess we should talk about the last Nintendo Direct Mini Partners Showcase, seeing as we didn't get a chance to cover it as Assault or Hype, because I don't tend to do the ones that are only 10 minutes long. But this one ended up
I mean,
being
if we
a bit
want
longer
to.
anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they did it. It seems like they're doing these pretty frequently now, because we've actually had. I think this is like the 3rd one they've done in the last couple months. I think it's
3 in 3 months, I think. Yeah,
so they're doing them essentially every month.
monthly.
Yeah, I think
But-
the last partner showcase was in June, wasn't it?
It was.
No.
The one
Well,
with
that was-
Puyo 2, Tetris 2. That was.
Oh
only a
wait,
few
that was
weeks
a
ago.
partner showcase. I forgot about that.
Yeah. That was the best one because it had Taiko no Tatsujin and Puyo Puyo Tetris 2. This one wasn't bad either, though. This one is.
Depending what you're into, it's very good.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Like, Capcom is releasing not 1, but 2 Switch exclusive Monster Hunter games. So we've got Monster Hunter Rise and we've got Monster Hunter Stories 2, which is the sequel to a 3DS game I don't think we got.
Yeah, we did.
Oh,
We
we
did
did.
get
Oh,
it.
we did.
On the
it's
3DS.
It's
Got that
the
one, on the
amiibos we
3DS.
didn't get.
The amiibos we didn't get. No.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Oh, Monster Hunter Amiibos?
Yeah,
it's
they're
massive.
really
Yeah, there were
elaborate
Monster
ones as
Hunter
well.
amiibos.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
However,
elaborate.
there will be amiibo for Monster Hunter Rise.
Oh yes.
Plus, over in Japan, they're actually doing quite a clever promotion. They're giving you a box set of 2 copies of the game of Rise,
All right.
1 digital, 1 physical. So,
Okay.
Oh.
digital one you can have on your Switch, so you can have it on you at all times, and the physical, basically, you can lend to a friend whenever
To play
you see them.
multiplayer.
It's like, yeah,
Ah, very
Genius
I
idea, I
see.
think.
Yeah, that's really
Yeah,
good.
I like that.
I can't imagine
Oh,
how
I
much
see.
it would be, but yeah.
it will be twice the price. Cause,
Well, obviously, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll
That's
probably
not
just
bad.
crack this bit. I just put the trailer up, or a bit of the trailer up. So yeah, because obviously the Switch didn't get a version of Monster Hunter World. I guess this is their compromise. I guess I wouldn't even really call it a compromise because this is an exclusive game. It looks pretty damn good. Like
Yeah.
you got a
Also, they're
doggo
a-
friend.
Also, it's in 60 FPS.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Is
just
it?
look good.
Is
Mhm.
it 60
Yeah, they're
FPS? I
aiming for
thought I
60
read it
FPS.
was 30, but I don't know.
Well,
It's
I mean,
Malaco.
because basically what happened was Monster Hunter World came out, and obviously in Japan, Nintendo's got big for Monster Hunter lately, and so they was a bit upset by that. So they basically released Monster Hunter Generations,
Mhm.
Yes.
a port of that, like an enhanced version on the Switch, but it was
that was the
fucking enhanced.
that was the compromise, wasn't it, at the time?
Yeah, which is a good game, but this is a whole new game, and it looks great.
Clearly, it looks great. I actually really like the look of Stories 2 as well. I thought that had a really lovely art style.
Stories was quite fun. It's not
Yeah.
for everyone. It's quite fun. It's a turn-based RPG.
Yeah,
Oh, that's interesting.
it's got a really
Yeah,
nice
you-
cel-shaded look, kind of Ghibli-esque.
Yeah,
This new one,
yeah.
it's quite pretty. It's got a really nice.
It is
look to
quite
it.
it is quite an interesting look you don't see often with Monster Hunter.
I mean, obviously, this is like I guess this is kind of the kid-friendly spin-off. Is that the best way to describe it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know about kid-friendly. Just because it looks like a cartoon doesn't mean.
Yeah, but I think it appeals to kids.
Like the whole.
I'm sure.
I'm
sure there's that.
The sort of Mushi King thing, how like little boys like battling bugs. It's like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like having Twilight Princess and Wind Waker. So like Wind Waker looks a bit
I can
more
see that.
childish, but
I
it's
can
still
see that. This is definitely
a legit game.
The Wind Waker equivalent, I suppose.
Something like that.
Not really similar gameplay wise, but they are like this Yokai Watch kind of demographic.
Yeah, but okay, so they had that they had both of those to show off, and then they also had Disgaea 6.
Yeah.
Which apparently is also going to be a Switch exclusive, as far as I know. I think
very strange decision with the graphics.
Yeah, that was the first thing that stood out.
Wouldn't.
This one is 3D. This is the like fully 3D. It's like cel-shaded 3D. It's I knew they were probably going to do this eventually.
But...
I figured they'll probably do this eventually, but
sometimes it is hard to tell though. Like sometimes
some of the battle animations do look pretty good either way. But it's just a shame that it's one of those old mainstays. One of the franchises that was still hanging around was traditional sprites, even if sometimes they were
that's what I thought was a bit of a
softly
shame.
filtered. But and the whole selling point in this one is how like your level can go up to like a lot of nines, and the damage can be a lot of numbers.
That's always the selling point of Disgaea.
But even more numbers. We have to have more numbers.
The damage you can deal to enemies and your level cap, it's always an absurd level in Disgaea. It gets higher than it did in the last.
It used to be. It used to be 9,999.
Yeah.
Now 99,999.
Over 9,000.
Way over 9,000 at this point. They also showed a bit more of that Balan Wonderworld by Yuji Naka. It's kind of.
I still keep calling that Balan Wonderland.
So do I. I keep getting it confused. It is Wonderworld. Don't know if it's just me, but the Switch version looks a little bit rough. Like when you see the actual in-game stuff, I feel like this is going to be one of those games.
That's why.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm not good at picking these things out from trailers, so I can't comment.
I mean, like they literally put out a separate Switch trailer when they first announced the game, and like the frame rate and sort of like the textures are just a bit. I'm sure it's still a competent version of the game, but. Going from the footage of what was clearly like the Xbox Series X or PS5, PS4 versions of the game, and then going to the Switch version, you do notice a substantial dip. But otherwise, this actually has a release date now. It's coming out at the end of March, so it's not even that far away. So that's cool. I'm kind of looking forward to this one. It's very Nights into Dreams aesthetically, but gameplay wise, it's a very different beast. It's kind of like a Mega Man type thing where you basically get all these different costumes that give you different abilities, and it looks like there's some kind of online co-op mode or couch co-op mode where you both combine your abilities. March 26th next year. So
if anything, it just made me think of Billy Hatcher more than Knights.
Really?
I suppose. I don't know. That game was alright, I guess, but it was no Knights.
I guess, but Balan Wonderland, it's Wonderland, right?
World.
Wonderworld.
Oh, Wonderworld. I guess, but Balan Wonderland, he keeps it's a little closer to how Billy Hatcher worked, just being the whole 3D platformer thing.
Yeah, I guess so.
I know a lot of. Yeah, I know. A lot of people connected it to Knights because the characters look similar to characters from Knights. I know that.
Clearly what they're doing. They've deliberately gone for that aesthetic for a reason. They wanted to make a new Knights. Sega wouldn't let them. They went to Square Enix. They wanted to make a game that looks like Knights, not so much plays like it, clearly.
I mean, if Yuji Naka stuck around Sega a little longer, he could have worked on Knight's Journey of Dreams.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would have been nice if someone worked on that
Probably.
a bit more. Like, actually put some effort in. God, that game was rushed. It was another one of those games that was supposed to
It
come
was
out
the
on,
Wii
like,
game. I
PS3
liked
I played that one. I thought it was.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
fine, but I don't know.
I
I
had
feel like
that
they kind
game.
of defeated the point of what Knights was gameplay-wise.
Yeah.
I guess. I liked the game, though.
It wasn't terrible by any means, but the story and the cutscenes, ugh. Yeesh. Ugh. It was rough.
I guess.
It was one of those games that was confirmed to be originally a PS3 and 360 game, and then they were told at the last minute to make it a Wii game, and they had to basically scrunch the game down to the Wii, and that's probably why it ended up feeling so rushed. They also showed some more Room Factory 5, which I think is coming out next year.
A series I really want to get into.
That's not nice because Room Factory was, until this 4 that came out on Switch, was dead. You know, the company was completely dead.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't. Rune Factory wasn't really dead. It just took a long time in between different installments.
So
I'm sorry, what?
Company fell through, I think, after 4 on the 3DS.
Oh yeah, that's what you meant. Yeah, that did happen.
Yeah, and then then they've done 4 complete on the Switch, which obviously has breathed new life into. I think people are more ready for farming games these days after Stardew Valley.
Yeah, it's kind of breathed new life into
there's
that
like
genre.
there's almost like a whole swath of them now, isn't there?
Yeah.
Like it's really a massive revival at this point.
Yeah,
kind of. So Harvest Moon, or not Harvest Moon, Story of Seasons, and Rune Factory, they have a lot of competition to deal with today as compared to a decade ago.
Oh, for sure.
I have a game now.
I have about 400 indie developers making their own ones.
Yeah, very few of them are that. Like, I'd say Stardew is the only one that I may be better than them. Perhaps
Stardew's
with the amount of
the
work
only
that
one
went into it, I'm
anyone
not
cares
surprised.
about.
But this is good, and obviously this is going to give you something a bit different. You know, it is obviously it's a farming game, but
with more combat and a lot more RPG combat.
Yeah,
that kind
it
of
is
stuff.
a farming sim, but it's also kind of a dungeon crawler.
Yeah.
And that kind of feeds into the story a bit. So I've played some of these Rune Factory games before, and I love them. It's just my problem with them usually is that it's very difficult to figure out what you're supposed to do to advance the story. It's very cryptic in that sense. You figure it out eventually, or you don't. But
or you don't.
Or you don't. The game just
Or you
advances
just put it
on
in the
its own
bin.
at some point. You just advance the story and you have no idea how you did it.
I was thinking of
That's usually what happens to me.
That's how
It's
I
always
feel
been
with
on my
Columns
radar.
too. I don't know how I'm doing it, but I'm doing it.
It's always been on my radar as a series, and I really would like to grab one at some point. So maybe this could be the one.
Yeah, I mean, you've got 4 complete, and it has
Don't
a physical.
Don't start with the first one on the DS. That one's really rough.
That was
4's as good a place as any, really,
I
isn't
feel
it?
like 4 on the Switch is probably a good jumping point. Yeah.
4, either on the 3DS or the Switch, is an okay place to start. Or you could do Rune Factory Frontier on the Wii. That was the first one I played. That one was great.
It's really rare.
Yeah, good luck finding it.
It's rare.
Yeah.
I do like collecting Wii, though.
I guess it's a good thing I pre-ordered it.
You love collecting weed, do you?
I cut my hands.
It sounded like you said you love collecting weed.
No.
They're too cheap.
Totally not for me.
No, we went with urine.
So the last announcement of this, speaking of Microsoft, was Ori Will of the Wisps.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that's getting a Switch port. So that's nice. I wasn't sure if this one would,
I thought
because
that
this
game
game just looks so goddamn good. I didn't even know if it could work on the Switch. But the what
It does look excellent. But I actually thought it was all. I actually thought that game was already on Switch.
You're thinking of the first one.
Which was another one
Yeah.
that has no compromises performance-wise
Yeah.
and graphically.
Yeah,
Like
of course.
the original is placed just as well as it does on consoles, other
Like,
consoles.
Yeah.
Of
Of course, I don't say that like I got the two games confused. I just thought both of them were on Switch already.
Yeah, that's fair.
So,
There's so many things getting ported to the Switch now, it's hard to keep up, isn't it? Sometimes, like... Oh, yeah, this actually came out. This came out the day of the stream. And they also announced a I Am 8-Bit collector's edition of both games, I think. That's some kind of box
Oh
set.
yeah,
Yeah, I think they show
that's
it
right.
in the trailer, actually.
That was announced.
They kind of lost me at I Am 8-Bit, but I don't really trust that company. But it does look very nice, though. It's got
At least it's not
separate boxes for both.
At least it's not an NES game.
Let me guess, and he's another one of these companies that make purposely make limited amounts. Is it one of them?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know.
Yeah.
Unlike
$150.
Limited Run, they
I
literally just do
I Am
like
8-Bit. They
$2,000.
do. They've done a lot of collector's editions before, usually in higher numbers than what Limited Run tends to do.
I just
And
don't
they
like
also
that
do a
crap.
lot of
Yeah.
They also do a lot of vinyl soundtracks, but what they've become really notorious for in more recent years was doing official cartridge re-releases of games on NES, SNES, and Genesis.
The only thing with
And
I
they've
Am
made-
8-Bit that's put me off is they've been known to put out kind of shoddy work. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh,
people
yeah,
have gotten
that's it.
finals for them that have literally got chips in them and
Oh, right.
Well,
Yikes.
like
I mean,
manufactured chips, as in like they were chipped before they even shipped them.
Oh,
Rats.
what was
Oh, I
my
didn't
one
even
like?
know
My,
that. I didn't know about
that
that.
rabbit's
Yeah.
one's all
Yeah.
right, I think. And all the holes in the middle of those ones are a little bit poorly cut, but the middle's not
It's-
so much
I
of a
just-
problem. But
I just remember that for the cartridge re-releases, those when they did their first one, which was Street Fighter 2 on Super Nintendo, a $100 re-release for a game you can get for less than $20.
and they're
yeah.
everywhere.
When they did that, they also had a warning on the site where you buy it that said that the cartridge, it's possible for the cartridge to spontaneously combust. If you use it in your Super
Yes, I
Nintendo.
remember this. Yeah, they were like, "Oh, it might catch on fire because we can't make things properly."
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
And you know what? Here's the thing. There's actually a law in the state of California where when you make something, even if it's not made in California, you have to write on the packaging, the state of California requires us to tell you that there's materials in this plastic that could catch fire. But the way I Am 8-Bit wrote it on their website, they just said, yeah, this could catch fire if you use it on your Super Nintendo. Like the Super Nintendo, like just the electricity from the system or whatever is just going to cause it to catch fire.
Oh, it's just like in
And the-
how with some food product in like just California that say, oh, this product could give you cancer.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. So like those retro bit multi-carts that I have, they have that same warning on them. But they don't say they're just going to catch on fire if you play it.
They will catch fire, guaranteed. All your money back.
Yeah, but anyways, for all of I Am 8-Bit's releases since then, they didn't have that warning anymore. But I'm pretty sure they could still catch fire.
I mean, most things can catch fire if you give them a chance.
Even then, though, these are $100 re-releases of very, very common games. So I'm pretty sure they expect nobody to actually open the damn thing.
No,
That
of
is
course
really, really silly.
They'd have to
Yeah,
put aside on the side of the GX 4000 that it might catch fire.
not. Yeah,
The what?
and you might get some burning rubber.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
the GX 4000 was.
I mean, that's literally the only thing you're gonna get.
I just realized I didn't make a yoga fire joke when talking about Street Fighter 2.
That's okay.
It's fine. You didn't have to.
With the Ori thing, it's just like considering the first game's like 15 quid, and I think this one's only like 20 quid. The second
Yeah.
one, it's like the special edition is $200.
What?
So
What?
yeah, so it's like
Wait, how much is it?
Bye.
How much is it?
Yeah, bye. Yeah, I am
How much
8-bit.
did you
They
say
can
it
go.
cost?
See
do
what I
that.
mean about this practice? It's just getting so
$150.
stupid.
Yeah, people
Yeah.
are
How-
getting really
how
silly
much-
with it. Limited
How
Run
much
are
did
actually
you
one of the
say
better
that-
ones.
Yeah,
much
I
did
just
At
you say
least
the
they
collector's
actually
edition
make them to
costs?
the nearest thousands. of their pre-orders.
£200.
It's
Yeah,
200.
stop asking. We said many times.
But
Yeah.
you guys kept talking over one another. I couldn't hear any of you. And I
Except
don't
for
think
the
you heard
except
me.
for the £7,200 that was said.
But it's, yeah,
All
it's,
right, so you're telling me this costs £200?
Yeah, it
No.
costs £200.
Okay. Why didn't you just say so? Damn.
Sorry, it costs £200.
All right. Well, on that note,
£200.
okay, yeah, I get it. But on that note, holy hell,
Yeah, no.
you gotta really, really love those games to pay almost as much as a whole damn Nintendo Switch to get this.
Or you got to be a moron. Yeah, those games look fantastic, but come on.
Or you gotta have more dollars than you have cents.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just really losing it with this kind of stuff now because it bears repeating, but I've kind of gotten muscled out of retro collecting.
Yeah.
And
And
now
now
I
they're
feel like,
muscling you out of just owning
Yeah.
general
that's the
games.
thing. So because I just
Yeah.
want to buy interesting games, and I don't see why every interesting sort of thing, like not just collector's editions, but just like like I say,
Standard
interesting
games,
things.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And it's not AAA, then you're either paying too much or they go in 5 seconds and they don't make enough of them. It just
blind forest. It's not like the game couldn't have been
Yeah.
sold normally.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we didn't even mention it on the podcast, but Ubisoft announced a re-release of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World the other week. And so far, it's digital only, but there's rumblings it might be a limited run thing. And it's like, it's a
probably will.
Ubisoft game. They can afford to put out a game.
And they
They
know that
don't
the fan
need-
base is there now.
Yeah, exactly. They don't need limited run to publish a game for them. They can do it themselves. They're
Yeah,
a big company. They can
They're a big
afford
boy.
it. They're a big boy. They can afford it. They're not a little indie developer. They know what they're doing.
I'm expecting some like crazy expensive limited run version of Spelunky at some point.
I mean, there was a limited run of the first game.
Yeah.
I think they did do a
Yeah.
standard version as well. It was a couple of years ago now, wasn't it? Because I remember
I would love
they
to own
revealed it.
physically.
They did reveal it at a E3 one time, didn't they? And the only thing that disappointed me was there was no Switch version. Otherwise, I would have had it. But it was like
Yeah.
Vita and PS4, wasn't it?
But you watch Spelunky 2, I reckon there'll be like a really over the top expense, just like with Ori. It'll probably be
As
like,
long as that's
even-
not the only option, you know.
Probably
Yeah.
will be.
That's what I'm saying, though. It will, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
not,
'Cause
that's
that's
not
what's
always the
happening
case, though. That's not always the case.
No,
though.
not
They do.
It's going
do
that
sell
way.
They do sell standard $35, just Switch case with a cartridge in it versions.
Yeah, I know, but
that's usually why I
that's
go for.
becoming rare, though. This is the point I'm making. Like, that's actually like, that's getting to the point where that's sort of a novelty in itself now.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's annoying.
Yeah,
I mean, we've been talking about stuff like last week, for example, we were talking about the Tower Plan shooters for the Mega Drive
Yeah.
games they released. And instead of doing a multi-cart like they did with the Data East collections on the Super Nintendo, they're all individual collector's editions. And it's like, you could have just
And you
done
can spend
a multi-cart so people can afford these games, but no.
Yeah.
well,
Don't be
hey, you know
silly.
what? You know what? Those cartridge re-releases that IM 8-bit does, even though they're all common games, those are limited too, and they always sell out.
Of course
Except
they
for the
do.
Mega Man,
They always sell out
except
to
for the
people.
Mega Man X one, for some reason, you can still get that, and
Well,
that's
you
been
think-
there for like 2 years. But
that's solid.
even when,
Yeah.
yeah, but even the Battletoads one that they released at the same time as the new Battletoads game, that one sold out in like a week or two.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
hey, if people are gonna actually keep buying them, why stop there, right?
At least those Tower Plan re-releases are actually coming to Switch digitally. So
Oh, are they? What, the Mega
yeah,
Drive
well,
games?
that's what I heard. Yeah, they're going to be releasing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
Yeah, they are getting digital releases. They can't talk about
That's
them yet, but
something.
I think
Yeah,
I think M2's working on those.
Yeah,
isn't
yeah,
it?
M2
I
Aren't
thought
they?
that was the arcade games, but
Hmm.
Oh,
well,
well, I don't know.
Either way.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe they're also including the Genesis versions.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be a nice little
That would be
bonus if we
nice,
could
yeah.
get both. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be nice.
I guess we shall move on to our main topic, which is also sort of news. So, Nintendo have officially announced that they're discontinuing the Nintendo 3DS family of consoles, I guess. So basically, stopping production of the actual hardware, not anything to do with like. Apparently, they have no plans to turn off any of the online stuff anytime soon. So yeah, that would be way too soon.
Thank
if they
goodness
did that
for
now.
that.
But yeah, they are stopping production of all of the 3DS consoles essentially, because the thing's been out the whole range of systems
very long
9
time.
years.
Yeah.
Yes.
9 years. I think the first
9
one came out in
years.
2011.
Isn't that the longest
yeah.
a portable has been in
I
production?
keep thinking.
Think so.
Other than the
thinking-
Game Boy, maybe. If you count the Game Boy Color in the pocket, that was going for ages.
And the Advance, because some people count the Game Boy Advance as well.
I would go that.
I wouldn't go that far. The Advance is a completely different beast to the.
I mean, I
previous
guess,
Game
but it
Boys.
depends on who. But it depends on who you ask.
I'd say the Color and the Game Boy are akin to the 3DS and the new 3DS.
Yes,
In,
that's the
in
best way to
they
put
are
it.
And you know what? You know what? Some people even put the DS and the 3DS together.
It's not even a Game Boy, technically.
Yeah, well, let's not get into semantics.
Yeah.
Basically, the 3DS has been discontinued. It's the end of the line. We knew this was coming because they've stopped making games for it essentially 2 years ago. I don't think, or maybe a year ago. I think the last Nintendo game
It was
was
like
a port of Kirby's Epic Yarn. I think that might have been the last
Mm.
first party game, as far as I know.
I'm pretty sure the the last one might have been Mario and Luigi's Bowser's Inside Story plus Bowser's Journey.
Yes. Yeah, you might be right there, actually. Yeah, that was probably the
was
last one.
It wasn't the last Nintendo. It wasn't the last game. No, it was just the last one Nintendo published.
That's what I meant, yeah, the last first party game. So they pretty much abandoned it, I guess, last year or the year before.
Yeah, and
there
then they
has
kept
been the odd third-party
manufacturing.
games, but...
And then they kept manufacturing the system and printing the games because it was still selling, at least in a little bit.
Yeah,
They were trying to keep it going a little while into the Switch's time because it was a budget option for people who like Nintendo games compared to the Switch.
So I mean, with regards to the online service, it is actually turned off in Mexico now.
Yeah, that was they did announce that a while ago.
Some Latin American company,
Wii U as well, wasn't
they
it?
turned it off. Yeah, same with the Wii U. I think in Argentina it's been deactivated too.
Yeah.
Apparently the user base there was very low, so maybe that's why. But either way, I just thought this would make for a nice little main topic about our memories and our favourite games and stuff with the Nintendo 3DS, because as far as I'm concerned, it was a very special little system. I actually enjoyed it more than I did the original DS, actually.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I enjoyed it more than the DS, but I did definitely love it a lot.
Yeah, it's a fantastic little system. When they first revealed it, I really didn't know what to think. Like the whole 3D stereoscopic thing, I was like, okay, that's weird. That's a thing. I don't know where that idea came from.
They managed to sort of figure it all out, where it worked without glasses and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, with the later one,
amazed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, even the early ones.
Even
the
base one,
you didn't need glasses. It felt wild at the time, didn't it? Yeah, it was
crazy.
The way they revealed it as well. They had that weird thing where they had like all these ladies with them like attached. They had like 3DSs attached to women. So like if you were to play them at E3, you had to awkwardly stand close to this lady while playing this 3DS because it's attached to her by like some kind of chain or something. It was really weird.
They did this at E3?
Yeah. That's how they revealed it. They had all these ladies come walking out with like 3DSs attached to their hips. It was
like someone's going to steal the technology.
Yeah. Just in case someone tried to steal one, maybe. I don't know. It's like if you try to steal a 3DS, you're going to take you get a free lady.
That's funny. I didn't know about this, actually.
Yeah, that's one of my earliest memories of it.
The 3DS first came out, and it wasn't, believe it or not, it wasn't a massive seller at launch, was it?
It really wasn't, no. It
really floundered out of the gate. It wasn't
very
until
expensive.
Yeah, at the time, Nintendo was forced to drop the price and start that ambassador program
Yeah.
where
It
anyone
actually,
who
it actually
already
cost
had a
more than the
3DS by then.
Switch, if I remember rightly. It was quite a bit of money, wasn't it?
It was quite expensive.
Yeah,
How much did you pay
it
for
was
your one,
really
Spurs?
expensive when it came out. And then
Did
Satoru
you get a
Iwata,
chance to speak?
and then Satoru
I
Iwata
paid-
famously took a cut to his own pay in order to make up for the money they would start losing from the 3DS for a while at that point.
Yeah, that's true.
Because he didn't
they
want to
worked
lay
so
off
well.
any employees.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
That was
Yeah.
really good of him.
Yeah.
How much did you pay for your 3DS, Stace?
I paid about 200 for my one.
How much?
And that's not including the copy
How
of
much?
Rayman 3D I had.
Sorry?
Yeah.
That's not including the copy of Rayman 3D as well.
Oh, yeah, because that was a launch title, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was.
Rayman 2. But
Oh,
you've got
yeah.
all the ambassador games on your one, haven't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was probably the best thing to come out of like having the system that early on because
Yeah.
very rarely I even get the chance to get consoles from day one.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I didn't have the 3DS early on either, so I
Hmm.
missed out on the ambassador program.
I got it really late. I'll tell you when I got it because this is actually my. Yeah, you asked. You wanted memories, didn't you? Well, this is kind of my one. I didn't get it till I think it was 2014 when they released the Majora's Mask.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
how late I
That
got
was
it.
your first 3DS, was it?
Literally, it was the new 3DS. That was my first one.
Oh, yeah, of course it was. Yeah, I remember
Oh.
that. Yeah.
It was the launch of the new 3DS with Majora's Mask, and
Yes, it was. Yeah.
that's my memory because I adore that remake. Well, not even a remake. It's just a port, isn't it? Really, with 3D.
Well, they redid all the
Um,
graphics. And
yeah,
that,
I suppose
It
you
is-
call it a remaster. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
I'd say that's accurate.
And it blew me away. Like it still
And I-
does. It's amazing.
Yeah, I have the Majora's Mask game too, and I actually didn't have it on the N64, so the 3DS was my first time playing it.
And it's a great version, isn't it? That gyro aim as well, just so much fun.
my first time completing the game was on the 3DS.
Oh right.
I
my first time fully playing through it was on the GameCube. You know when they had that Zelda collection that came.
Oh yes. The disc
Oh,
with
that's
the
right.
games,
Yeah. But
Yeah, that's a
the
thing,
3DS,
too.
yeah, the 3DS was definitely my favourite version of it, without a doubt. And
Yeah.
it's still my favourite Zelda game as well.
Runs at a good
It's
frame
just-
rate, doesn't it?
Oh, it runs
For a start.
perfectly. Yeah. Yeah, so that's my memory is how I really liked both that, and when I a couple of years down the line, I also got the Ocarina 3D. Ocarina of Time 3D version as well, and yeah, they were both just so good. Another one of my favourite memories was when we were actually at MCM one year. This was all the way back. Yeah, and they had the 3DS on display, and I remember they had what's his name, Space Harrier. Yeah, the
What's his name?
EM2 version. What's his name? Space Harry.
Oh,
They had old Space
I thought
Harry
you were
on
gonna
display.
I thought you were gonna say they had 3D Space Harrier on that 3DS there.
They did.
Yeah,
that's what he was saying.
that is what I'm- yeah.
Oh, I thought you were just saying like Space Harry or something, and you said Space Harrier by accident.
Oh no,
No.
no Space.
Space
I always
Harry
call
is
him.
here.
I always call him Space Harry.
I think
And,
one of
I
the
get
instruction
it now.
manuals does. I think the Game Gear
brilliant.
version does.
Space Harry.
Yeah, Space Harry.
That's
That's
funny.
his
That
canonical
should
name now.
have been his real name.
Yeah, Space Harry.
It is, as far as I'm concerned, in my head canon.
I'm
But
gonna
yeah, I
start
remember-
dying on that hill now too.
And yeah, I remember playing that at MCM, and that was my first real exposure to a 3DS system. And playing that in 3D, it was just amazing. Yeah, I still, that's probably again my favorite version is just the M2 port of the first Space Harrier on 3DS. Absolutely.
Yeah.
amazing.
Of course, I'd say the Switch version outclassed it, but the 3DS
Oh, yeah.
version was still top notch.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of difference, but yeah, I think Yeah, I mean, for me, the 3D, I think I got a 3DS very close to launch when there still weren't many games. I think the game I got with mine was Samurai Warriors, so it wasn't anything fancy.
Oh, there was a Samurai Warriors on the 3DS.
Yeah, it was a launch game.
Yeah.
Sweet.
But yeah, no, it was. I think it was when Mario 3D World came out, or 3D Land, sorry, came out, that I knew that the 3DS had a lot of like hardware power, as well as, like I say, this platform will have a lot of potential great games.
Yeah.
People did say that it was like the portable equivalent to the GameCube. How the DS was like the portable equivalent of the N64. I don't personally subscribe to that, but it is it is definitely up there.
It was definitely very good for N64 ports, as you say. Like, it's a shame they didn't try to port Mario 64 again, because they probably could have done a really nice remake of it there, rather than that slightly dodgy DS version. But
at least they did Star Fox 64.
Yeah, that too. That came out really nice as well.
Yeah,
that was the last 3DS game I bought so far.
Yeah, I think I got my 3DS in 2013 because they were doing, just like I did with my Wii U, they were doing like a deal basically where if you bought a certain game, I think if you bought the console with I think it was Mario Kart 7, you could get a digital download for another Nintendo first party game, and I think I got 3D Land with my one. So basically, when I got my 3DS, it came pre-installed with Mario Kart 7, and then I also got 3D Land as well. So they were my first two games with it. And by the time I got mine, some of the launch titles were already really dirt cheap. I managed to get both Shinobi and Crush for about $5 each or something like that. Really early on.
Blimey, a $5.
Yeah, they were really cheap, really quickly. Yeah, that Shinobi game was actually quite neat. It was kind of like a sort of remake of the third game, sort of, but it was kind of its own thing as well. But for me, I have to say the 3DS was almost exclusively a Street Pass and Sega 3D Classics machine. Like, my God, those 3D Classics are so good. Like,
I didn't even mention Street Pass. Oh God, I enjoyed that.
Street Pass is like, for me, that was the biggest selling point.
I spent a lot of time at conventions just messing with the Street Pass games.
Oh yeah.
So when I was at panels, I would play the Street Pass games while listening to whoever's speaking in the panel.
Yeah.
And then and like every few seconds, it would just be updated with more and more people.
Yeah, those were the days. Those were the days. Honestly, I think that was... Yeah, the 3D was really impressive, but I feel like the Street Pass was the best feature of that system. I was actually really disappointed that the Switch didn't have something similar.
Yeah.
Like, if the Switch had something like that, it would be perfect, but I feel like they missed a trick not putting a similar feature in.
Absolutely.
But yeah, the Sega 3D Classics, for me, even with the newer Switch ports, the Sega Ages versions, I still feel like some of those games are the best versions of a lot of those super scalar games. Some of them, I feel like they were made to be on the 3DS. They're that good. Like some of those games, they need that extra depth that you get from the 3D effect. Especially games like Galaxy Force 2. That if you try to go back to playing that game in 2D, it's actually kind of difficult, but because like the way the graphics are drawn, it's quite busy. But when you see it in 3D and it's got proper depth, it actually feels like you're in a 3D space more so than it does as a flat image, you know?
Yeah.
And I just feel like those games, and even stuff like Streets of Rage, just looked amazing on there.
Streets of Rage.
I don't even know how they did that, because the sprite doesn't change size, but it changes depth somehow, and it's like it was incredible. And I think one of the earliest games I also bought for it was the 3D version of Excite Bike, and my absolute favourite thing with that was just putting the slider up and down and watching the terrain go back and forth, because it looks so good, like the way everything sort of stretched out into 3D. That remake was really nice as well. I wish they'd made more of those sort of like 3D versions of NES games.
I wish they made more too, because I bought all of them, and I felt like it was a huge missed opportunity to stop where they did.
Because they actually, in Kid Icarus, they actually like drew a back, because normally it's a black background on Kid Icarus.
Oh yeah, they added a background, didn't they?
Yeah, they added a background.
Yeah,
I didn't know they did Kid Icarus.
Yeah, it's great. It's the best version.
Yeah, because they're basically, they're not even emulation, are they? They're kind of like brand new ports in a way. Like the Excite
Something
Bike
like
one, it's
that.
clearly all made. Like most of it is actually polygons. You can sort of tell when you're pushing the slider up and down, like the actual terrain. You can see it's proper 3D. Like it's really cool how it slides back and forth. It's just magic. It's just something weirdly magic about that 3D slider when you just go back and forth. Like obviously don't have it on all the time, but I tend to have it on most of the time. And I do have in certain games I do have a habit of just sliding it back and forth just to see what it, just to watch it go in and out. It's just so fun.
Not to mention, it was good for 3D video sometimes.
Oh,
When I played when I
Yeah.
played Rhythm Thief earlier this year, I would always turn the 3D on during the animated cutscenes. They were all in 3D.
Yeah, you could even get a couple like films on there. You could play 3D videos from YouTube on there. There was that weird Tekken collection that had like one of those really bad CGI films on there in 3D.
Oh,
but-
was that on 3DS?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
had
there
something
was-
like that on PlayStation 3.
Yeah, they did a 3DS version that actually had like the whole movie on there in 3D. It was really strange.
I had no idea.
What else was?
Wasn't there like an
'cause
anime
The
channel as
Tekken
well?
movie.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, there was, but there was a newer movie in all CG. I remember now. It came with something for the PlayStation 3 called Tekken Hybrid, where the game was on the Blu-ray, but the movie was also on the Blu-ray, so you could watch that on a Blu-ray player if you had one. And and the
We
movie
heard
on
you
that
like
Blu-ray was
Blu-ray,
also
so we
in
put a
3D.
Blu-ray on the Blu-ray, and we also put the Blu-ray on the Blu-ray. Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But back to the PS3, PS3, the 3DS.
Yeah. I guess for me, like Street Pass, especially the Street Pass Mansion game, that is probably one of my games of the decade. Honestly, like I absolutely love that game. The one,
Ghost Mansion one.
yeah, the Ghost Mansion one, where you basically get like the Tetris pieces to form like a corridor, and then you get into like random encounters, don't you, with like ghosts
Yeah.
and do little battles.
I love that one.
God, that game was. So
I love
good.
that one too, but it was time consuming.
It was very
compared to all the
time consuming,
others.
but I liked it for that.
Because it was.
It was so
Yeah, I
meaty.
did like it too, but
so much
it ate up a
depth
lot
to
of
it.
my. It ate up so much time that I often skipped it when I played at conventions.
That makes sense.
It
If
just-
you're like getting
'cause there
hundreds
was-
of them, then yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because there was all kinds of people going through all the time.
Yeah,
Oh.
of course.
'Cause
Yeah,
it-
we know.
one that I spent
We
the
did
most-
the same.
Did like 10 at a time, wasn't it?
Yeah, unless you purchase
Yeah.
that thing that lets you get more. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep. You had to
Yeah.
purchase more of the games, yeah.
I spent most of my
there's still
time
a
on the
couple.
slot cars.
Oh yeah, I love the slot cars.
That
one,
one's
too.
really good.
Right, yeah.
The fishing one was really nice as well. I love that one. Those were actually
Yeah. I
developed
love
by
that one as well.
Yuji Naka's studio, Prope. I think
Yeah,
both
he
Mansion
did
and
one
the
of those
fishing ones.
games. I forget.
Yeah.
Was
He
it the
did
fishing one?
Yeah,
I
the
forget
fishing
which
one
he
and the
did.
Mansion one were developed by Prope. Yeah.
I
Or
one of the
whatever their name
one
is.
of the things for the 3DS I really liked. I can't remember what it was called, but it was like a project where lots of famous developers came together and made small games.
Yes. Yeah, Attack of the
yes,
Monsters and
Tanks
I
versus Ants vs Tanks.
yeah.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
I forget the name of the initiative, but I have all those games
me
too.
too.
One of
Yeah.
one
Attack
of them
the Friday
was
Monsters. That's what it was.
Yeah, one of them was Liberation Maiden. Another one was Weapon Shop de Omase.
Which we mentioned earlier, funnily enough.
Yeah, you did actually.
Yeah.
And there was another one, I think, called the Spaceship Damery.
Spaceship Damery, Crimson Shroud.
Mm.
Crimson Shroud. That's the one I'm thinking of. That's the
Yeah.
one I played the most.
Crimson Shroud was by the guy who did Vagrant Story, Final Fantasy Tactics, Tactics Ogre, all those.
Yeah.
He made a very
Oh, really? It
very
shows.
very D&D styled inspired game where you have to roll dice with the bottom screen.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah, it was really
Mm.
cool. And then obviously Ants vs Tanks was by Inafune,
Mhm.
and the Liberation Maiden was by Suda51.
Yep.
Um,
I've got that one.
Right. I was
Yeah.
trying to remember which one Suda51 made.
Yeah.
I can't
That
remember.
one.
Clearly very Suda 51.
Yeah. I don't remember all the others who made all the others, but yeah, I thought it was very neat. I wish that they did more with that
Mm.
because I think they only did like 2 lots.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there was at least one game that didn't even come out in the West.
I must say, was the late. It did come out, but it took a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there was another one that didn't come out here.
Also, as Hunk Thunder mentioned before the podcast, the 3DS is kind of how a lot of us met.
Yeah.
Oh,
When you
really?
think about it, through the Street
That's a
Pass,
really
because
good
the
point.
Nintendo Southend community used to be called Street Pass Southend.
Yep,
Yeah, back in
that's
the
true.
day.
neat.
Yeah.
I know it made me a lot of friends when I was still in college, because that a lot of the people I'm friends with now, they were playing Pokemon or Animal Crossing a lot on their 3DS. And I never had Animal Crossing, but I would play Pokemon with them a lot after I got that.
Yeah, I feel like the Street Pass thing really opened up like communities across the UK, especially. It was a really big thing for a while. Like,
Yeah, even the Nintendo UK themselves actually supported the groups.
yeah,
which
they
was
were
nice at the
officially
time.
sanctioned in a way. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, kinda. They even set up their own Street Pass events now and then,
Mhm.
where
Oh,
you
yeah,
go to a special Street Pass zone, and you get like a celebrity's Mii or a Mii of a famous person from Nintendo, like Eiji Aonuma
I
or
had that one.
Masahiro.
I think
Yeah,
I
or
got
Masahiro Sakurai, even though he doesn't work at Nintendo.
Miyamoto, I think.
Yeah.
I
Who?
some guy that was in
£200.
Japan.
I remember I ran into a couple of YouTubers and wound up with their Mii's. Like some call me Johnny. I ran into him when I was at Sonic Boom in New York in 2014.
Yeah, I think this marks the end of an era in a sense because I know we have the
Feels
Switch,
like it,
but
yeah. It's,
sorry.
yeah, it's like Nintendo's last dedicated handheld when you think about it.
Yeah.
At least for the
that.
time being, unless they go back to that idea someday.
Yeah, but not only that, it's also for me, it's kind of like the last dedicated quote unquote double A game development hardware, if you know what I mean. Like,
Makes sense to me in a way. The
Yeah,
Switch kind
I
of
know what
feels
you
that
mean.
way to some extent.
to some extent, but you got a
Yeah,
lot of
Not to the same extent, but yeah.
no, you got a lot of
Really?
squeezing AAA games onto the Switch. You know,
Yeah, that
whereas
kind of
with
thing
the-
didn't happen on the 3DS, so
No,
they had to be
but
they had to be more creative on the 3DS. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. Of course, you still got at least one or two Call of Duty games on the 3DS, but like other than that,
But it's we've exchanged that for like a bigger presence for indies, and I also think the games industry in general is kind of paring down from making these massive games all of the time. I think we're seeing a lot more
for sure.
variety in
Yeah.
how much
That-
single.
because that was one of the problems with the PlayStation Vita. Because even though that was a dedicated handheld, that tried to be a AAA dedicated handheld.
Only
So
ever
for about 5 minutes.
Its hardware, its hardware was a lot more powerful than the 3DS, but at the same time, that made it a lot more expensive, not only to produce, but a lot more expensive to develop for. If you were trying to make a AAA game.
Yeah, this is one of the reasons it became a sort of bastion for niche Japanese games. The Vita, very good for that.
Anime girl face. The
yeah.
All the icons
course,
are those little bubbles, weren't they? And all of them, almost all of them, would be anime faces.
Lots of visual novels, lots of dungeon crawlers.
Yeah.
Of course, the issue there is that the 3DS also excelled with those kind of games.
Eventually, it did. Yeah,
So
I feel like the 3DS had a
where
bit
does
of a
that
slow
leave the
start.
Vita?
It sort of had a slow start, didn't it? But I feel like once it got its foot in, kind of like what happened with the PS3, really, that started quite slow, and then after a couple years, after like maybe 2 or 3 years, it felt like it was really kicking it up a notch, and ended up with a really nice library. And yeah, that's how I feel about the 3DS as well. It's got an amazing library now, especially if you count all the DS stuff that you can play on it as well. If you can play with the DS library, which is a humongous library. It's like one of the biggest.
Not to mention all of the DSiWare games are available on the 3DS eShop.
That's true.
So when the DSi shop was shut down, all of those you can't buy those games on a DSi anymore, but you're still free to play and download them on a 3DS.
Yeah.
So they haven't quite been lost to time just yet.
Not yet, anyway. But the other good thing about the 3DS right now is the time to collect for it. If you want to buy games for the 3DS, get them now because they're so cheap. The shops are literally fire sailing. At least here in the UK, they're literally
£4.
Yeah, I've seen games like Yokai Watch for like £2 on Amazon.
Yeah,
£2 or £1.50. I picked up Project Steam and this game called
Codename
Teddy
Steam?
Together.
Codename Steam.
Yeah,
Codename Steam.
Codename Steam, that's the one. I picked those up from Argos for £1.50 each.
Yeah, this is where you want to look at. They're constantly dropping 3DS games.
You can get stuff like the Mario and Luigi games for like a tenner. And you can get some of the Kirby games for like £15. If they've got them in stock, obviously, if you're lucky, they've got them in stock. But Amazon have been quite often doing that as well.
Not to mention, Nintendo still sells refurbished 3DS units, which sometimes includes limited edition ones.
Yeah.
I don't think they have any limited edition ones anymore, but they had quite a few for a while.
I really want to get that Super Nintendo one. That thing's gorgeous.
As well as some replacement parts for even the limited edition ones. So, like, if you lost the back cover of your Super Nintendo new 3DS, they have a spare one that you could buy.
That's cool.
I mean, I don't know what the scene is for 3DS with like flash carts or hacking. It would be
there's plenty of hacking. you can play Mario 64 on it now. The source port.
It's there, but you don't see much of it unless you're actively looking for it.
Yeah,
I like most hacking.
It'd just be nice for the 3DS not to be a brick for a lot of people with the game.
That's true.
Yeah.
Anyone remember that game Cubic Ninja?
Oh yeah.
Where everyone was scooping it up just only because people found people found out it opens up a back door into the 3DS.
Yeah, that game was a lot of money over here for a while because of that.
Yeah.
It's the hacking game. I don't care about the actual game. I just want
that was like GTA on the PSP. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Or Twilight Princess on the Wii.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that had a back door as well. I don't think it made the game's value shoot up like what happened with Cubic Ninja, but that game was a backdoor game. And I think there's a couple other random Wii games that had that exploit as well.
There was also Hannah Montana, the movie, the game.
That was
the Wii.
Yeah, that was one of them.
Well, that game didn't actually have an exploit in it. It's just that someone on 4chan convinced people that it did have one.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I did not actually know that. I thought it was an actual exploit one, so...
Nope.
Interesting.
Someone just tricked a bunch of people and they all fell for it like a bunch of
flooded out to buy that.
Well, I mean,
that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
It is hilarious.
I guess one of my other favourite features of the 3DS was Miiverse.
Oh yeah.
And obviously it was on the Wii U as well. But oh my god, Miiverse was so good. Why? That's another thing I really miss. It's completely gone. I just missed that. It was great.
Yeah, it was on Wii U first, but it was really cool when it made the jump to the 3DS.
I think it's sad.
Very surprising too.
I played it on the 3DS first because I didn't have a Wii U when it launched. So when they introduced it to the 3DS, that's where I first experienced it. So yeah.
Yeah, I played it on the. I had the Wii U before I had the 3DS. I didn't actually get my 3DS until I think it was 2014, whatever year that The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds came out. Because because my first 3DS was actually the Link Between Worlds Special Edition, which came with Link Between Worlds pre-installed.
Oh.
And then what happened after I got that was a year or two later, just before the new 3DS was coming out, I actually dropped my 3DS and broke the headphone jack, so I couldn't use headphones anymore.
Damn.
Yeah, and I contacted Nintendo to get it repaired, and they told me the price, which is like close to $150. And so instead of sending it to Nintendo, I decided, because the new 3DS XL was about to come out, I was just and that was like I think $200, so like just $50 more than the repair. So I'd just buy the new 3DS XL instead, transfer all my data over, and then I sent the Link Between Worlds 3DS to Nintendo's recycling center. So they probably refurbished it and resold it on their site.
Yeah.
I have a bit of a sad story to 3DS. Do you remember when they first released the new 3DS? They released a special version of it.
The Ambassador Edition.
Yeah,
the one with the big Japanese logo on it.
Yeah, I qualified.
Oh, that.
Yeah, I qualified.
I forgot all about that.
So I bought it and they sent it to me.
You bought one?
Yeah, and I was playing it and I was really enjoying it. I was playing Soul Hackers on my 3DS on it, and then it froze. And so I was like, oh, that's annoying. So I booted it up again, and the UI was just completely balked. It just was not. It was weird. It was like flickering and couldn't select things. And then I restarted it again, and it just bricked. So
Jesus.
Yeah, so I had to send that back, and unfortunately, because it was a limited thing, they couldn't send me a new one. So
that's bull.
Yeah. So I got to play it a bit early because I got those versions. You got that version slightly early, didn't you? Than the street release for the standard new 3DS.
Oh yes, yeah.
So I got to play it a little bit early, but I had to send it back, and they gave me the money back so I could buy a normal new 3DS. But I obviously lost those special plates.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Should have held the plates back when you said
that.
My my history with 3DS, I had the original Aqua Green or Aqua Blue one on launch day.
Yeah, the Cosmic Blue one.
Yeah.
Oh, that one is so nice.
So that's what started me off. Then they announced the new 3DS, so I went for the regular edition, which I bought a whole load of cover plates for it because I like to change things up a bit now and
really
again.
Nice, those face plates. I was actually surprised how few of those actually got released. There were quite a few, but I would have thought there'd be more.
I was surprised that I pretty much never saw a new 3DS in stores. It was always just the new 3DS XL.
It was it was a rare thing.
2DS XL later on.
Yeah, it was a rare thing over in North America because they didn't expect to actually sell it over there, but they eventually did. So
the problem I had was I could never find faceplates for the. I had just the new one, not the XL.
Yeah,
I couldn't find
those
faceplates
faceplates were really hard to find.
The Nintendo store had a bunch of them online, and I assume the one in New York had them as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the
but
same.
I don't remember if I ever saw those in stores.
Yeah, I had the same 3DS as Hunk Thunder, the launch one. Then I had the normal XL, and then I got the new 3DS standard edition.
Yeah.
I was umming and ahhing about the big one, but I thought it was a bit too big personally. So
yeah, I've still got the standard 3DS XL. I haven't actually upgraded to a new yet, but I still want to do that at some point.
It does make some games play a lot better.
Yeah, it's noticeable.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely considering it. I'd really like to get that Super Nintendo style one. I think that was a new, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
nice.
That's my third.
The Super Nintendo Virtual Console games could only work on a new Nintendo 3DS.
That's true.
Yeah.
So against that rubbish.
Yeah. So Aqua Blue first. Oh, my new 3DS that actually was imported from Australia because for some reason they released it in Australia and New Zealand about 5 or 6 months before Europe.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to wait that long, so I brought one over.
Nice.
Then I had the SNES one.
Oh, I love that one.
That one is really nice.
Gorgeous.
I wish I was able to get that one, or at least the bright green one. Because I think the bright green one came with Super Mario World.
And then
because it was supposed to be green like Yoshi.
Yeah.
Then my fourth and final is actually a 2DS. When they released Pokemon Yellow, Blue, and Red on the Virtual Console, I got the Yellow Pikachu 2DS which still have like the SNES buttons.
Oh, cool. Is that
Yeah,
the original 2DS, the like
sweet.
doorstop
Yeah.
shaped one? That's
Yeah.
really
Yeah,
strange. That's the
That is
strangest looking
wedge.
handheld. Yeah, it's like a
that's-
little door stopper.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
they're
that would.
really
you know-
bizarre. I get why they made them. It was so kids don't like break the hinges.
Well,
Yeah.
also, I used to date a girl in college who had only one eye. She had to have one
Oh.
of her eyes removed because of
blimey.
glaucoma,
Wow.
and
right.
she had the 2DS actually.
Mm,
So
Wow.
the 3D effect requires that you have two eyes
Well, yeah.
because that's how you have
Yeah.
depth
That's how
perception.
3D
But
works.
in her case, it's now impossible for her to see that. So
of course.
why spend extra on a 3DS, right?
yeah,
When they got
yeah,
the
no.
2DS instead.
I mean, to be fair, especially once they released the new 2DS XL, like if you're not fussed about the 3D feature,
That too.
just get that one. It's like it's so much cheaper.
yeah. It's
Yeah, that too.
Hmm.
yeah. You know, I think when you really think about it, yeah, Nintendo must have made a lot of money on the 3DS in as much as like
Eventually, they did, yeah.
it's
I
like
mean,
After that initial
it's one of
hurdle.
their top 5 best-selling game systems right
like-
now.
like think about it. Like most people have their Switch and that's all they got. But back in the DS and the 3DS, people maybe it's just me, but always buying new ones. You know,
Mhm.
you
Yeah,
just can't having one. You've got to have a different one. That they
yeah,
release.
especially when they made so many nice special editions. They
Yeah.
made some really,
that-
really gorgeous ones.
That happened with me with pretty much every handheld I've ever had, except for the Game Boy and the Game Gear, where I
Yeah, I
bought multiple of them for one reason or another.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean,
Even the PSP, I bought a second one at some point.
I've had 2 PSPs and I've had a Vita, but I have had 3 DSs and
Oh wait, I only have one Vita. I forgot about that.
3 3DSs. So it's just like technically I've spent more on the 3DS than I have on the Switch by far.
Yeah,
You
Yeah,
know,
I mean, I bought a 3DS twice, and then I sent the first one back, and not even for a refund. I just sent it to a recycling center.
yeah. I think that's probably a good place to wrap up. We've been going for quite a while. It was quite a long
Yeah.
one, but we did have a lot to talk about. So.
Well,
did
got
you-
like-
Well, I would like.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I got a few more points.
Oh, yeah,
That's
go on.
cool.
Yeah, go for
Oh,
it.
really? Let's
Yeah,
hear
go
it.
on.
Oh, do you remember with Miiverse, like there was like different channels for each game.
Oh, I know where you're going.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of my favourite things about Miiverse. Every single game had a community, didn't it? Or like
Yeah.
a page you could post and draw things on.
Yeah, and
Oh yeah.
there was
Yeah.
this one
Oh,
like.
yeah, I forgot to put up the picture that I was
Oh
gonna put
yeah, that one there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a particular. There was a particular game on that called My Life with Horses 3D,
up. Oh, God,
and
yeah.
for
The meme
absolutely
channel.
no reason, it became the meme channel.
Yeah.
It just got full of like drawings of like horses, and like even I contributed and trolled to it.
Yeah. I think that picture I've just put up on the stream was the first thing I drew on the 3DS, I think, when I first got it. I could be wrong there.
Yeah, so
Just-
I think one of the things I drew was something to do with the old My Little Pony.
This happened to me a few times. I was
Yeah.
drawing on Miiverse, and the home button on the 3DS XL was very easy to press. And if you press that, your drawing is gone.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
god, yeah.
Yeah.
I've only ever made one Miiverse drawing, and it was on the Wii U.
Oh,
I-
really?
I-
I used it a lot. I do
love
so much. My favourite community on there was the Olaf one, Olaf's Frozen Adventure. I used to just draw
Oh, that
absolute
game.
nonsense in there, like this. I just posted so many stupid drawings in the Olaf one. It was just way too much fun. And then there was like a second one because they did a double pack for the Olaf game with something else. So it was like, oh, I've got to do even more in that one. So I just kept drawing stupid stuff in that place for ages. Let's see if I can find something.
Only trouble with the Miiverse is it felt a bit like a gamble with like who you sort of interacted with.
Oh yeah.
It did a bit, yeah.
Yeah. So, ooh,
So-
whether some children really like went off to Google the cell, as in the movie, I don't know. But if they did, ooh, they were in for a rough ride. Because the cell was that film with Jennifer Lopez in it, and if I remember right, it had like a scene where a horse gets chopped into pieces with like glass, and then you see it's like getting sliced into like bologna or something. It was horrible.
Yikes.
Yeah,
Had some
People
some
drawing
of
stuff
stupid,
based
some of
on
those stupid old Miiverse drawings for you.
There were some great memes as well, like why can't Metroid crawl and things like that.
Yeah.
Not
Oh, and
strictly.
I was
great
just about to
water,
bring that
great
up.
water.
Mm.
Good water in this game. Fantastic water in this one. Oh, look at that water.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, that water. Oh.
I
I mean,
love
that's not
that.
strictly
Are you
a 3DS
okay?
thing. It's just the water,
He is
man.
now.
The water.
Yeah. And so that's one of the more fond memories of when I had a 3DS.
Well, you still got yours, haven't you?
yeah,
You've
it's-
been using yours quite a lot lately.
Yeah, it's been my Pokemon machine.
Yeah, pretty much. One of your Pokemon machines.
Yep.
along with
After
your
I
DS
left
Lite.
After I left college, I started playing Pokemon on it less and less, and I
Hmm.
started gravitating toward a lot of other things.
Hmm.
What I remember playing a lot actually was Hatsune Miku Project Mirai DX.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because it was such a fun little rhythm game.
Yeah.
A lot of great music. None of those Sega songs that you love, though.
Hmm.
For me,
But
yeah, for me, it was just a JRPG machine. Lots of Shin
It had
Megami.
so
Tensei,
many.
Dragon Quest.
Yeah,
Is it
Yeah.
everything you own?
yeah,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
to be fair, the 3DS did have an amazing JRPG library.
Oh
it
yeah.
had Miitopia.
One
It
of
had,
the best.
It had Miitopia. Remember how I talked about that a lot?
It's got
I
good.
gotta play it again.
Oh yeah, and I was a bit disappointed with Rayman 3D because it was basically yet another Rayman 2 port.
It was cool to have on a handheld,
Yeah.
though, with 3D.
It was,
It
because
was basically the
It was,
Dreamcast
but
version.
It was it was
At the s-
based on that,
Yeah.
and the 3D did look quite nice on that,
Hmm.
but it had problems.
It did have some glitches, didn't it? But
Like they forgot to program the 1000th lum.
oh, so you can't
Oh,
100%
no.
the game.
So what? It's uncompletable then.
Well, you could technically you have to go through quite some hoops to actually reach that area,
Right.
and then once you finally do it, if you grab that particular lum, the game crashes.
Oh.
Wow.
Oops.
Yeah,
Sloppy launch stage Ubisoft port. It wouldn't be a launch without one.
yeah.
Ubisoft did an oopsie.
So this
Oh,
is
they've done a lot of oopsies,
Over the years.
including
So-
Asphalt 4. I think it was Asphalt.
so.
I don't
this-
think. Now that I think about it, I don't think I purchased a single Ubisoft game on 3DS.
I've got quite a few, mainly like Rabbids games. One of the Rabbids games was actually kind of alright.
Oh, was that platformer one?
No, it was that Rabbids Rumble.
Oh,
was-
yeah, the
because
sort of turn-based.
It was a
Thing.
board game, but also mini games and like an RPG element to it as well.
Yeah, I remember that one being pretty neat, actually.
Yeah.
So this is somewhat related, but today there is a Switch and 3DS sale for loads of Sega games.
Yep.
This is in America, I assume, not for us.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
Yeah, it's America. It's Sega 60th anniversary sale,
Uh,
and
Oh.
it does it extends to the Switch and the 3DS. I don't know about the Wii U, but hey, if you want any of those 3D classics games that you haven't gotten yet, now's your chance to get them.
That's a good
Yep.
thing with those. They quite often went on sale, and they still
Oh,
sort
God,
of
yeah.
do.
They
Yeah.
still go on
They
sale
got
all the
on
time,
sale.
yeah.
Yeah.
so
Along with the Sega Ages games on the Switch,
I guess
yeah,
it-
that's
as well as Atlas games, actually. In fact, speaking
nice.
of Atlas, when it comes to 3DS games, I would personally recommend you check out Stella Glow. If
yeah.
you're into
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you're into turn-based strategy JRPGs, because that ended up being one of my favorite games on the 3DS. And it's on sale, and it's part of that Sega sale right now too.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can get most of the 3D classics at the moment in America for about $3 each. So, well worth it. I feel like, for me, those super scalar games, Outrun, Super Hang On, all those games, they're the best thing on that system. Like, I feel like they were built for that. I feel like the 3DS was made for those games. Like, it really
they do lend themselves incredibly well to the 3DS.
Yeah.
I would certainly recommend all of them at the very least. Especially the ones you can't get on the Switch, like Afterburner.
Yeah, I would even recommend these
Thunderblade.
kind of over the Switch versions because of the 3D depth.
With some of them, same here.
Yeah, I feel like that really adds to them.
Switch doesn't add that much.
Yeah, I don't think there's that much on top of what was in these. Like, just a couple of extra bells and whistles, but yeah.
Outrun has some extra music, which I really love, and then Space Harrier, it has that extra mode with the creatures that serve as shields for you.
Oh yeah. I'm not saying that they don't have I'm not saying the 3DS versions have got the most features. I'm just saying the 3D depth really adds to them. And obviously you lose that with the Switch ports because it doesn't have 3D.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, I think we should probably wrap this up.
Yes.
Yeah, we've been going for a while. But yeah, that was a great one. That was good stuff.
Really jam-packed.
We'll be doing this again next week with episode 90. Episode 90.
The 90s are cold.
That's going to be our last episode.
Yeah, that'll be the last one. Hashtag 90s kids. Because there's a hashtag in the logo. Kind of. Or, a pound sign. Or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Right.
Stop being an old man.
I can't.
Okay,
it just keeps happening. Time does that. I'm just getting older and older and grumpier.
Yeah,
right.
We're becoming boomers.
Right, so I have been the Gagaman.
I've been your Collins player number 2, CherryTerrier.
I've been Murry Curry.
I've been ShelvedGamer.
I've been Hunk Thunder.
And I've been your 3DS. Please play games on me.
I think I will. I think I will tonight.
I know you have a 3DS. Everyone has one. But seriously, I'm Big Elk.
Everyone here has one, I think.
Yeah,
we all do. So, yeah.
My one's old and battered, but it's still going.
Yeah,
I need to continue with I need to continue with Metopia because I need more crazy Miis to tell you all about in that game.
Yeah, we need a whole podcast of that. Right. We'll see you guys.
Get Stella Glow.
We'll see you guys later. We need to see you later.
See you later.
Have a good week, everyone.
Bye.
Cheerio.
Bye.